Hello everyone and welcome to a waffle coverage. West Coast Eagles and South Fremantle from Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Tim Gossage and Stephen Bandy with you today. Weather has fined up beautifully, surface outstanding, and of course we'll be calling the action of this fixture. It is 4th place 5th, South Fremantle 4th, West Coast 5th, and there's some significant changes to the West Coast Eagles lineup.
Oh, big time, Tim Gossage. Happy to be by your side this afternoon. Quite a number of outs as we speak, but the South Fremantle lineup is going to take a bit to get over the line. Experienced lineup. Can they go one better this year, do you think, Tim?
Well, they're a very experienced lineup and they don't make too many changes, so they will be very hard to toss this afternoon. Brock Higgins in the ruck, Keegan Brooksby for the West Coast Eagles, and the big out for the Eagles, no Jake Waterman. He has been forced to withdrawal. And a couple of newcomers making their waffle debut. Nick Reid, of course, from North Beach, and Daniel Akers from Wanneroo, brother of Blake. We're underway. First quarter action thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Round 5 of the WAFL competition here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. And the umpire sets it down. Good hit out there from Brooksby into the path. Brock Higgins follows up quite well. Very experienced ruckman. Going to be a good battle between the two today. Hugs handball, searching for Archie. Can't get a hold of it, but lays a brilliant tackle. The former Port Adelaide star, and we'll see a ball up at the centre-half forward for the West Coast Eagles.
The matchups will be interesting. We'll keep an eye on who Jackson Nelson gets. At the moment, he's standing Donaldson, who's a very fine player up forward for the Bulldogs.
Higgins' kick forward lands in the arms of Nelson. He drives it long inside 50. Good contest from both sides. Ball at ground level. Good tackle there from Eagles player. 61 kicks it in forward. It's going to the top of the goal square, but it's all South Fremantle 2v1. And the experienced head of Nick Subin takes this one comfortably, Tim.
Back in the lineup, Nick Subin. He missed last week because of a groin injury, but he adds a lot of experience from his AFL days with Fremantle.
South Fremantle opting to go the broadcast side. Well collected there from Buick, taken out behind play. Umpire chooses to move it on. Hayden Sloyth, the ball magnet, goes down the boundary line. Good spoil there from Curnow. Tidy collect there from Harry Edwards. Goes inboard to Josh Rotham. Elects to go across the defensive goal face, and Brody Riak takes a comfortable mark. He spots a teammate out in Fisher. West Coast want to take control, possession of this game quite early. Jared Brander works hard off the back flank, takes it comfortably. He returns after a week in the senior side. Hasn't won a game thus far, Tim Gossage. 0 from 3. Hopefully we'll pick one up soon.
That would be handy for him and his longevity in the game, because you don't want to be a bad luck charm. But he's a fine player, and he's one of the most experienced players out there in the back half for West Coast today, which goes to show how inexperienced they are.
Fisher finds Ainsworth on the wing, just keeps it in play, searches for the corridor. Good take there from Hamish Brayshaw. Got a runner in board. West Coast advancing here, but ill-directed kick. Great follow-up tackle there, however, and the umpire's pinged him. Terrific stuff from Babillard. Able to corral his South Fremantle opponent. Opts to move quickly. The big workhorse takes it too far out to score, even with those thunderous thighs of his. Opts to go inboard. Ainsworth on the non-preferred, searching for an option in the pocket. It's Bailey Williams, but he runs out of real estate. And we'll have a throw in. Forward pocket for the right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles.
Hayden Schluth, of course, will be a player who commands plenty of attention today. His certainly name's been mentioned in dispatches for the mid-season draft, if possible, the winner of the Sandover medal. So West Coast will want to be on their medal and not allow him to get off the chain. Doing a lot of his work in the front half this year.
Higgins wins out. Quick snap around the corners to the goal face, a chance, but it's all Strom moving back there for the Bulldogs. He takes the relieving defensive mark. Umpire just directing Noah Strom that he indeed is going to receive a little bit of breathing space.
Behind. He's actually paid the behind that his mark went over the line.
There you go, a bit of a juggler there. Kick is precise, good floating across the mark there is Dylan Main, the ex-West Coast Eagle. Little handoff to Nick Subin, kicks for distance down the wing. Got a runner in Brendan Verrier, collects tidily. Little left foot snap in the pocket. Where are the runners here for the Bulldogs? Jared Brander providing a bit of defensive pressure. A kick from Cade Stewart to the goal face. Oh, it's just moved across and in fact stays in play. Brendan Archie the first on the scene, and the left foot kick is no good. It's going to give South Fremantle the chance to open the scoring in the goals department.
Yeah, that's a sloppy disposal from Brandon Archie. He needs to be better than that. He's got more experience than many out there. He needed to settle over the footy, so the coaching staff won't be happy with that initial disposal.
Steve Verrier opting for this shot on goal. Goes the non-selfish option to the top of the square. Good fly there and a tremendous mark taken by Strom. And this will look like a dead set certainty for the Bulldogs to open their account.
It just comes from a mistake. It comes from a basic fundamental turnover when you're under no pressure whatsoever. Disciplined football by the Bulldogs and the big mark taken in front of goal.
Averaging 6 goals a game, and he's going to add to it here. South Fremantle open up their scoring account. They move ahead. 1 goal straight ticks to the West Coast Eagles, the solitary behind.
Yeah, it's a good start. It comes on the back of a mistake. So that was a quick transference of play. And that's something that South Fremantle like to do in their front half. They like the ball to get over the top, and they've got some will-o'-the-wisp players. We saw there Brendan Verrier was involved. They've also got Cade Stewart as well. So West Coast would want to be careful. If they turn the ball over in transition, they need to get back because it's going to put their back six under enormous pressure, and it gets made even that much harder with fundamental skill errors that we saw there.
Looks like an absolute man mountain. 198 centimetres and 103 kgs. Looks every bit of it to Zach Strom as the umpire bounces the ball back in the centre. Brooksby and Higgins go at it. Archie collects but is taken immediately, dispossessed. Brendan Verrier hears the voice from behind. It's Nick Subin. He kicks to centre half forward. South Fremantle fly goes out the back. Rotham assesses his options. Little handball. Nelson to mop up. Opts for the wide delivery, and it's well taken there from West Coast Eagles player. And Daniel Akers, brother of St Kilda Star, goes inboard, untidy, but it's going to work for the Eagles. Archie linking up with O'Neill. Excellent pass for Billiard. Wants to move quickly. Eagles a chance here. Brooksby alone at centre half forward. Distance will test him just outside 50. Giving his forwards the best available chance. Smith in position, but good spoil there from the Bulldogs, and a relieving kick. Lands on the wing. Munkara, silky skills. Oh, dropped a handball there. Good fend off from the West Coast Eagles. Hack kick forward out of Higgins' direction. Subin, little blind turn. Tremendous tackle on the umpires. Pinged him. That is sensational defensive work from Robilliard. Working hard in the last couple of minutes.
That's the second time that Nick Subin's been caught holding the ball as well. He's happy to wave his arms around, but he's just got to get it on the boot quicker.
A crowd at 50, sends to the top of the square. Dangerous area. Williams flies, can't bring it in. Ball at ground level. South Fremantle with the numbers. They choose not to take it out. And Hayden Sloyth has to just bang it out of the 50. He's got Dylan Main working for him. Good spoil there from the Eagles. Brooksby, little tap to Archie, puts him under the pump. And the ball just scouting on the boundary there. Florenka kicks to the wing for the Bulldogs. 2v1 West Coast. Can they work it out? Harry Edwards, as he's done so well in the beginning of the 2019 season, takes a fantastic intercept grab.
That's good football by the West Coast Eagles. Now everyone's forward of the ball, so South Fremantle flooding back numbers.
Smith looking for his tall target in Brooksby. Drops what he should have taken. South Fremantle with numbers. Working hard is Hayden. Ball hits the deck. Turnover. Eagles. Brooksby just bangs into the forward 50. Eagles player Nick Reid loses his footing. Quick to mop up though. And the ball scouring around. Lots of numbers around this contest. The umpire says, that'll do, boys. Holding the ball. He's pinged him. Who's at the bottom of that pack, Tim?
Well, it certainly looks like a very disappointed player. It might have been...
It was Nick Reid, the debutant.
Nick Reid, so he's learning the hard way. You know a bit about him from North Beach Ammos?
Well, I know that Shane Papp's pretty flat to lose him. North Beach v Scarborough this weekend. Massive game in the Ammos, but let's get back here to Fremantle Community Bank Oval.
It's his waffle debut, mate. Can't take it off him. That's it. West Coast are settling, but they're not getting bang for their buck inside their forward 50. South Fremantle defending well.
A chance here for the Bulldogs. Donaldson's got some room on the wing, wants to go inboard. Kick has to be precise. It was to Verrier. Sloyth running out of real estate, but he finds room as he does the Sandover medalist. Kick to full forward, and Shaw too big, too strong on this occasion.
Need better pressure midfield than West Coast. Donaldson was allowed to get around far too easy, and that just made it a one-on-one contest inside 50, so it doesn't really matter. Mason Shaw has got some AFL experience, been on the list. He's a very good one-on-one footballer, and he doesn't miss too many set shots from this range.
The Bulldogs leading goal kicker in the 29th season thus far with 9. A chance to add to it here and extend this lead for South Fremantle. Going to take the shot from 40 metres out. Umpire does very little work. And he's put it through. South Fremantle with the ideal start here. 2 straight to West Coast, solitary behind.
It's the 4th consecutive game here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval for South Fremantle. So they would know the workings of it. They train here, so they virtually have not had to leave here for a month. It's going to be a massive advantage for them today against West Coast. Just reminding ourselves, Jake Waterman is not here, and Nathan Vardy is not here as well, and young Cameron is out as well. So there's some real quality missing from this West Coast Eagles lineup, while South Fremantle has been bolstered by the return of some key players. It's going to be a tough day for West Coast. They're really going to need to lift because South Fremantle have got the jump.
As we see Bailey Williams stepping into the ruck against the state representative, and Brock Williams holds his own. Hamish Brayshaw, quick kick out. It's all South Fremantle in the middle here. Steve Verry, a little snap round the corner. Well collected from Ainsworth. Brushes the tackler aside. He turns it over. Brock Higgins on his left boot. Absolute scrubber kick. Went about 1 metre. But in the end, it's going to be Matty Allen picking up the ball. He's dispossessed. Stacks on the mill at centre-half forward for the Bulldogs. We'll have another ball up.
Matty Allen's one of those sort of mid-tier young players at West Coast that needs days like this to stamp his claim for a spot in the top team.
Ainsworth had it for a fraction. Ball at ground level once more. Umpire says, give it to me. We'll ball it up again, gentlemen. Don't know about Brock Higgins' left foot. Want to put that away for some time, Tim. Russell into the side this week for the Bulldogs. Sees a path, finds Buick on the outside, turns back in. Russell is going to have a pot shot from well outside. It's on target. Oh, has it been touched on the line? Umpire says, you bet it has. And he's still in play here in the left forward pocket. Pick up there from Hayden. Here's the voice. Good tackle from Ainsworth from behind. West Coast need to keep that pressure up all day. In fact, the umpire's paid it a free kick against Ainsworth. And he's got a bit to say. Would have to be in the back. Good think of what else it would be.
Absolutely, carried him forward. I don't think Hayden actually knew, so Russell knew that he was there, to be brutally honest with you. So that was pretty lucky. But again, another shot on goal, and they're really making them pay. They've kicked 2 straight to now. This is a tough angle.
Well, the ball living in the forward half of South Fremantle in the last 5 minutes. The kick is narrow, and their first blemish on the scoreboard. All the players in the front half of South Fremantle at present time. The full court press, as they say, Tim.
Jackson Nelson wearing 55 for those tuned in, not the normal number 30.
He does find a target. Terrific kick there from Nelson to the truck and Matty Allen. One of the more sturdier built men in this West Coast lineup. The Mount Gambier product wants to go across the goal face to Rotham. And in turn, Riak will receive. West Coast haven't ventured too far, but holding possession, a win at this point for the side.
Well, this is not too bad as long as they retain possession. It's all skill-based, this type of stuff, and patience to try and work their way through. South Fremantle have certainly made it difficult to get the ball out.
Nelson goes for a bit of a trot, sends it towards the wing. McInnes from behind, first hands. Umpire says play it on. Schloith will receive in the middle. Good feed to Dragovic, centre-half forward. They got a loose man. Brendan Verrier wants to move quickly. He's going to send it to the dangerous area. One out, push in the back from Main. And the umpire's seen every bit of it.
Didn't need to do that. The ball was actually going to clear that contest, so really just needed to put his body in there and force the eagle under, but he actually got the hands in the back and the umpire was in position A.
This is Daniel Akers. Did well to hold his ground. Nelson short ball to Edwards. Able to move past his opponent. Well worked from Ainsworth. Slick handball to Curnow. West Coast just a bit off with their disposal on the early going. Foley, here's the voice. Good handball. Curnow's kick is rushed, and the ex-Eagle, Blaine Wilson, will receive. Here's the voice. Dragovic in the middle. He wants to move it. The switch of play is effective for the South Fremantle. Good defensive pressure there from Brander. Dispossesses his opponent. Hasn't got too much to go to. Smith inboard. Fumbles. Critical moment. Many players opting to come and assist him. Crowd want ball. Have no idea what for. The umpire's paid it. Couldn't see that one, Tim.
No, I think the umpire might have got that right, but to tell you what, South Fremantle are going to make West Coast pay here if they're not careful, because they've made their forward sorties have been a lot more polished.
Pearson long. In the end, Rotham can't affect it. Umpire must have called play on. Kick over the top of Harry Edwards' hand, luckily off the mark. And they are peppering at the moment, the Bulldogs.
Leading stat getters for the West Coast Eagles early. Jackson Nelson 5, Rotham 5, Ainsworth 4, Fishers had 4 along with Riak and Rebellion as well. And for South Fremantle, Hayden Schloith 5, Brendan Verrier 5, and the ruckman Brock Higgins has had 4.
Can only assume that was touched because Joshy Rotham Gave up front position and the mark would have been a shot on goal for the Bulldogs. Nelson wants to relieve on the outer side. Bailey Williams is the target. Brock Higgins says, "Not today, my son." Hits it out of play.
Interesting stat, inside 50s at this stage, midway through the first quarter. It's 6-5. West Coast have gone inside 6 times for a point, 5 times South Fremantle for 2 goals too. Certainly getting bang for their buck.
That's got to be one of the biggest typos I've ever seen in my life. Let's hope the stat boys work it out. It feels like South Fremantle, the ball is living in their front half at the moment, Tim. You're not doing the stats by any chance, though?
You're saying that they've had it in more than 6 times?
5. 6 plays 5. Feels like 6 plays 1 at the moment. Donaldson collects cleanly, works the 1-2 with Dragovic. Good smother there from West Coast. The pressure is there.
I'll take the stats boys over you every day, Thump.
I think the efficiency is what's letting West Coast down at the moment,
exactly
particularly out their back half.
Thump. Well, I think if you go back and rewind the tape, that's exactly what I said. You just worry about calling the ball by ball.
If only we had the technology to rewind tape in this little box we've got working here. Umpire says, see a free kick, and of course it's going the Bulldogs' way. Good to Brock Higgins. The state ruckman wants 50. Wouldn't thought so, Brock. Goes long to the pocket. Couple of tall timber there, but Eagles do have numbers. Mason Shaw tackled well. Strom, little kick out, not 15. Schloith takes him. And Harry Edwards a chance to mop up. Ainsworth on the right boot. Must kick for distance. Does effectively. And McInnes just needed a contest. Did well, and the ball's out of play. Far side wing.
Official stats, 7 inside 50.
You sure about these?
Mate, you just concentrate on your gig and I'll just keep an eye on the stats. 7 inside 50 South Fremantle, 6 West Coast, 6 times for 1 point. Coach won't be happy.
And it's Williams v Higgins. Archie mops up nicely, just barrels it forward to centre half forward. Reid doing his best to mop up. Smith, good defensive tackle there. Ball at ground level. Umpire says, I'll have it. We'll have a ball up centre half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Played around 15 minutes here in the opening quarter. West Coast would love to bang one home very soon. Archie, high ball. Will they pay 15? Subin takes it, wishes he did. Good tackle from Smith, but they have the numbers behind play here, the Bulldogs. Blaine Wilson, hurried handball, puts Strong under the pump. Great pressure there. West Coast working hard to lock it in, and we need to see more of that. Have a ball up 25 out.
That's exactly what they need to do to lock it in, and they need to win from this contest right here. This stoppage, West Coast Eagles need to deliver.
McInnes, the captain, says, I'll take it. Back tap, finds his teammate in Matty Allen. Great snap off the left boot. West Coast on the board.
Perfect scenario. Good around the contest players. Allen hit it at speed. Good snap. Excellent goal. And that's something that will please the West Coast Eagles coaching staff. Good setup and lock the ball inside 50, put the South Fremantle defence under pressure, which they haven't been in the opening 15 minutes. And that's a result for West Coast. They're only down by 7 points, and the basic domination of midfield ball movement has certainly been South Fremantle's way. So that's a good fight back by West Coast, but they need to continue that right around the ground.
Credit that goal to Fraser McInnes, ruck work, I think. Up against Brock Higgins, no slouch by any means. He's having a spell on the bench at present time. It's going to be Brooksby v Zach Strom in the guts. Terrific finish by the truck, Matty Allen. West Coast against the run of play, bang it in. Umpire will have it again. Umpire restart. Zach Strom down. South Fremantle again with another clearance though. Breaks the tackle. Schloith will receive. Got Akers in front of him. Says bye-bye Keegan Brooksby. I'll go through the guts. Sends it to the full forward margin. Vacant goal square. Eagles running back. Push off there. Clever stuff from Hayden. Finds Stewart. Not much of an angle. How's he gone? No good. Behind to the Bulldogs.
He's a good player. Good to have him back in. Of course, he was on the Hawthorn list for a brief time. Came back, went bush, back to Katanning, his hometown, but he was basically lured back to the footy club. He's too good for country footy, and he can play a bit. So it's a good welcome addition to the South Fremantle lineup.
Rothen with the kick in duties, going out the far side. The breeze is blowing that way, so I think we'll see a lot of the action today out on that far wing, Tim. A commentary dream.
Far side of the ground here at Fremantle Community Bank. Not a lot of people here. It's a good day for footy. Beautiful weather. Don't forget the West Coast Eagles in action tonight at Optus.
Nelson, Smith, Brooksby working hard at ground level. Russell collects, but good tackle from the West Coast Eagles. You can't knock their intent at present time. putting a ton of pressure around the contest. A day for the contested ball machines, I would think, Tim, despite the glorious conditions here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. That's a bit of a mouthful. Brooksby, decisive win out to Billiard. He was taken without it. Ainsworth collects. Good sharing handball. Brayshaw strong in the contest on his left boot. Good contest there from Brander. Ball at ground level. Swooping in was Brendan Verrier. Strom back to Subin. Has the loose man on the wing in Florenka.
I'd be thinking about doing something with Subin. He's allowed to set up play in that typical sort of set-up defensive go-to man, really. So I'd be careful that he's allowed to get off the track.
Oh, overrun it there, Curnow. Shot on goal for the Bulldogs. Is it online? Just a bit narrow. That was a lucky escape there from the West Coast Eagles. Young Mitch Curnow overrunning the ball, creating that shot on target. Smith collects on the back flank.
2-4-16 to 1-1-7. Just back to my point on Subin. So a couple of times they've pressured him, he's turned the ball over. I'd be aiming to do that. That's a poor kick out of defence too.
Unless you're aiming for Buick, he took it quite nicely.
I'd be aiming. Here is Subin. I'd be doing a job on him. He is going to do this all day if they're not careful.
Pops it to centre half forward. The high flyers. Mankara is there. Donaldson stayed down on the left. Screws it back. Terrific mop up there from the Bulldogs and may make the Eagles pay.
Good player, Donaldson. He's a left footer. He was at the fall of the ball where all the small players should be. So again, that was set up by, of course, Nick Subin. And he just goes back and positions himself basically at 50, on defensive 50, backside of the square. If the Eagles are not careful, he'll do that all day. The two times that they've pressured him from behind, he's been ping holding the ball. I'd be putting a shutdown player on him because he's going to set up many, many forward sorties for South Fremantle if allowed to roam free at half-back.
Who'd be the ideal matchup in that scenario?
Well, you probably want to put someone that's just not required to do a lot, to be honest. There's someone like a Liam Rebillard, of course, from the West Coast Amateurs. I'd probably get a job on him, throw him a task and just say, I want you to shut down Nick Subin.
Strom v Brooksby back in the centre. Schloith again with another clearance, putting a stamp on the game early. Dragovic over the top to Russell. Got a bit of room in front of him. Kicks to the flank. West Coast under the pump here, goes behind play. Ball at ground level. Stewart goes off the deck. It's heading towards the pocket and is escorted out by Akers. We'll have a throw in. Dangerous areas for the Bulldogs.
7 scoring shots to 2 in the opening 21 minutes.
Daniel Akers, brother of Blake from the St Kilda Footy Club. Get to see him for the first time this year. Throw in, forward pocket. Higgins back on the ground in front position. Brooksby just hacks it out of there. Anyone's ball. Strom in best position. Drops what he probably should have taken. Fumbly ball. Dent working hard for the Bulldogs. In the end, Hug says, boys, let's clear this kick. And how would you like Subin to have another possession off the back flank?
And he does change direction, and that's what he can do. He's got a beautiful lethal foot. I want to harp on it, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to pay the price all day if he's allowed to do this.
Blaine Wilson's turned it over, however, a chance here for the Eagles. Open forward line. Josh Smith recognises it, goes over the top. Where's Jack Petruccelli when you need him? It's Jared Brander, just needs to get it over the line, and that's a win for the Eagles. 2v1 in forward 50. They'll take a stoppage on the paint of the 50.
Yeah, they had that stoppage before, which led to that goal by Matty Allen, so they'd be hoping to do this a bit further out of this occasion. Needs a bit more craft around this 4 to 55 metres out, but it's where they want it, right into the ground.
Bailey Williams into the ruck now. Wins out on this occasion, but Dragovic sharks it. Shirks the tackle while he's at it. Bulldogs under the pump. Terrific tackle there from the Eagles. Umpire says play it on, but prevented the easy clearing kick from the Bulldogs, and that's what they got to do, Tim. They got to keep locking it up in here.
Yeah,
Anything can happen.
Exactly, 100%. That's exactly what they want. This is what we want to see. No easy outs from South Fremantle.
Archie opts up, attempts for the glory kick, nothing doing. Dragovic, the tackler. Umpire says, give it to me. Throw a blanket over about 20 blokes here inside Eagles forward 50. Umpire restarts. Higgins takes possession, just boots it to the wing. Fisher stands underneath it. Bit of a fly there from Brendan Verrier. Nothing doing. Main attempts the spin. Should have been done holding the ball. Umpire gives him some latitude. And I want to see that holding the ball. If you're going to do the LeBron James spin, mate, that's a move. That's prior for me.
The ball came out of his hands.
Depends who has the ball. If South Freo do it, that's ball.
Fair call. Fair call.
Brooksby See Smith inboard. Archie had very little time. Steve Verrier collected him, but illegally, says the umpire. Archie moves it quickly to Smith. Puts it in the dangerous area. Williams is 1 out. 2v1 in the end. South Fremantle with the numbers. Quick snap on goal for the Eagles. It's a little bit narrow. And a behind.
He's pretty happy with himself then. Was that Rebellion who was, I think he was waving, he gave it the number 1, though he'd nailed it.
Oh, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? 13 points in the Bulldogs' favour.
To show the grandkids.
Kicks to the broadcast side. Higgins the target, as it should always be. Dragovic running through. They've got the corridor on this occasion. Main, a bit uncertain with it.
Good pressure.
4 metre kick from Dragovic. Ainsworth says, thank you, I'll take it. South Fremantle with numbers inside forward 50. Ball hits the deck. Can Eagles swoop? No, it's been held up. In fact, the umpire's called a free kick. And it's going the way of the Bulldogs. It's going to be Noah Strom, the recipient.
Slow to get up behind play, Blaine Wilson, former Eagle as well. Now, of course, Dragovic has knocked up getting the footy this year. He's an outstanding talent and he's doing a good job today.
The dangerous kick has worked for the Bulldogs. They'll open up the side here. Hayden wants to move it quickly. Eagle comes off his line. Terrific. Well read there from Riak. Has the loose man outside 50. A chance here for the Eagles. Left kick. He's got a man open. It's Brander at the top of the square. A chance for the handball over the top. Can they settle? No. In the end, a loose footy. They couldn't take full advantage there. They had the numbers.
They did, and it was actually Mascos's turnover running off half-back, an uncontested. Good attack on the footy by West Coast. Probably should have made more of that. They actually had the outnumber there, but proved costly. But they have lifted their rating, which is good to see. What are we? Into time on. Well and truly, 25 gone first quarter.
Well, after Mascos's turnover, he said, I'll kick out from fullback. Go figure. The kick works, though. Terrific contested mark from Dragovic. Against Matty Allen, no mean feat, mind you. Just going to kick long down the line. Brooksby in front. Shaw flies as well. Ball out the back. O'Neill wants to look for Edwards, but the handball is off target. Munkara, the dangerous Tiwi Island product, his handball to the advantage of Smith. This is going to work for the Eagles. A chance, a playing on chance here. To the forward pocket. Ball heading towards the boundary line, running out of real estate. Very clever there from South Fremantle. Just to paddle it over the line.
Free kick to South Fremantle.
From Mascos. So that's going against Rebillard, who just disposed of him very unnecessarily. And it'll be Subin to Blaine Wilson across the defensive goal face. Not long to go here in the opening term. 12-point lead to the Bulldogs at present time. Soccer off the ground, heads towards the wing. A chance here for Ashman. Got plenty of room. Ball hits the deck. Stewart locks it up. In fact, he's cleaned up. Hands it straight to Schloith. Shrugs the tackler off, takes a bounce, draws his player in. This is Hayden, lowers the eyes. It's Munkara with a ton of room. He can go over the top if he wants. No, he does. Yes, he does in the end. The Eagles can't get back, and Mason Shaw's going to kick one of the easiest goals of the afternoon. That's his second.
Yeah, they got it out the back again. They almost made hard work of it with Munkara almost dropping a put. But anyway, 4-4 to 1-3. Probably where the game is at the moment. South Fremantle just making more of their chances. Let's take a look at some of the stats for Hungry Jacks. Jackson Nelson's had 6. Archie, with that costly turnover, which cost a goals, had 5 disposals. Ainsworth 5, Rotham 5. Edwards, Fisher and Riak have had 4. Liam Rebillard also with 4. And Matthew Allen is the only goal kicker for West Coast. South Fremantle, as we mentioned, Dragovic and Sloith, they do knock up getting the 40, and Nick Subin's also had 5 with a couple of tackles as well. This is going to get away from West Coast. They'll restructure, I'm sure, at quarter time just to work it out, but they do get goals in transition, South Fremantle, making West Coast pay.
That one hurts deep into red time for the West Coast Eagles. Higgins roves his own ruck work. Schloith racking him up once more. Tackle from Smith couldn't stick. Brendan Verrier goes wide to the voice of Den. He shares. This is Nick Subin. Darting pass to the forward flank. And that's the siren here. Quarter time at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, which sees South Fremantle skip away to a 19-point lead. 4 goals for 28 to the West Coast Eagles, 139.
Mason Shaw with 2 goals and singles to Donaldson and Zach Strom, and Matty Allen with a great stoppage goal, the only goal scorer for West Coast. This is your waffle coverage, the West Coast Eagles and South Fremantle. It is the Bulldogs by 19 points. We'll be back with plenty more. We're here thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
Fantastic day. Obviously looking forward to it. Got up early to get ready and get the blue and gold on. Just having been involved over the past year with the Female Academy and through the Alex Jesaulenko Scholarship being around the club has been fantastic to be involved with the club, and now to officially be one of the assistant coaches is a great day.
This year being involved with the Academy in the build-up of the introduction of the Eagles side into the AFLW was an exciting period to work with the young girls. They just want to learn and are willing to have a go. And it's exciting because when you're talking and engaging with players like that, you just want to be around them more and more and impart more knowledge and be part of something that's going to be hopefully successful for a long time.
Oh, incredible opportunity to be here at West Coast, and I'm excited about what lies ahead for the football club, and not only a new Waffle team but also their new AFLW team as well, so I'm excited to be on board. Oh, look, great opportunity to, I guess, set the foundations at Fremantle in their inaugural season, and the AFLW as that commenced in 2017. So the opportunity now to pass on that experience at West Coast and be part of this club is something I'm really looking forward to, and certainly know I've got a lot to contribute.
I really enjoyed my last couple of years at the Claremont Football Club under Darren Harris doing some coaching. So when the opportunity came up to be part of the first ever West Coast Eagles women's team back here at the football club, which, as I think everyone knows, is a great environment to be in. So it was an opportunity I really couldn't let go.
With the likes of Michelle coming on board, Nikki that's been involved this year as well. Embers is great. You know, he's a successful player at the Eagles level, and having him involved just really rounds off the team. And Luke Dwyer, I've spent a bit of time with Luke as a player. He's a fantastic person, so to have him leading the team, it's going to be a great opportunity for all of us to learn off each other as we go down this journey.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with Menulog.
Welcome back to Fremantle Community Bank Oval. You're watching West Coast Eagles waffle action. It is Fremantle 4-4-28 over the West Coast Eagles 1-3-9. If you've just tuned in, a couple of late changes to the West Coast Eagles. No Jake Waterman out with a cork, which was declared by coach Adam Simpson yesterday. Would have been a chance to come in as we take a look at some of the highlights early. And the inside 50s certainly favoured Fremantle. 8 scoring shots to 4. Mason Shaw with a couple of goals was good early.
It certainly seemed like the ball was living in South Fremantle's front half the majority of that quarter. Eagles really were fighting hard to keep the pressure on them and make sure a lot of their forward 50 entries were dirty balls and making it a little bit harder for their mids to hit targets. But I would like to see us capitalise when we do get that break out the outside and able to hit targets inside forward 50.
Let's take a look at some of the players' stats for the West Coast Eagles. Jackson Nelson's had 6. Brendan Archie's had the 5. Ainsworth 5. Rotham 5. Harry Edwards with 4. Fisher's had 4. React 4. Liam Rebillard 4. Matthew Allen 3. And that goal, Keegan Brooksby 3. Really, Jared Brander's only had the 2. Let's take a quick look at Fremantle. Dragovic has had 6, along with Hayden Schleut, who got them early. Higgins been a good ruck battle too between Higgins and also Keegan Brooksby. Nick Subin with 5, Veria 5, and they are the highlights thanks to Hungry Jacks. Fremantle 4-4-28 as Luke Webster talks to his Chargers 1-3-9 West Coast.
We were always going to be in for a bit of a treat with the ruck battle. Brock Higgins v Keegan Brooksby. Two boys leading the hitouts in the competition in the WAFL at present time.
And Higgins, I saw, read during the week that he's withdrawn from the state squad because of an ankle injury, and he's worried about buttering up and playing on the hard Optus Oval surface. He's even complaining there's an opportunity to play for your state on Optus Oval, and I've read that he's pulled out. Now, I stand corrected. I need to see Brocky myself to have those words. I'd find that staggering you'd give up the opportunity.
I think that's great ammunition that we could possibly use when having these behind-scenes meetings with Optus, but what a shame. Would have been back-to-back representations for the state team, and I tell you what, not a lot wrong with his ankle from what I've seen out here thus far, Tim.
He's a good man. He's a workhorse. He's a Trojan, and Keegan Brooksby's got his work cut out today as the players go back. No Brady Gray, which is interesting. He's been good, but gee, I love seeing him connected to the West Coast Eagles, of course, coming from this area, of course, down from Fremantle, and he's done some good things in the opening month. He really had some experience, doesn't he?
It was always interesting, a class, and the way he's taken on a leadership role within this squad has been fantastic watch from an outside observer. But what is classic is that he was one of the main instigators, obviously, with the Gaff Brayshaw hit, you know, the remonstrating, and also took out Duggo in a pre-season match in 2018. So I was just keen from a little bit of a busybody eagle-eye observer to see how the teammates might interact with Brady when first coming on board from the club. But once you speak 10 words to him, you know that he's just a very down-to-earth, lovely bloke, and thrilled to have him on board. Hamish
Brayshaw is standing on this commentary side wing alongside one of the veterans of the competition, Sean Buick, who's playing game 142. And Hamish Brayshaw, he's on the cusp, there's no doubt about that, but we need more from him in this quarter. Second quarter action, thanks to Hungry Jacks.
And the umpire going to get it underway here. West Coast to the right of screen. Brooksby against Higgins. No clear winner there. Ball at ground level. Verrier working hard. In the end, it's going to be West Coast clearance. Archie might even have a ping from 50. Set sail from home. It's off target, though, by a fair margin, mind you, out on the full.
Would have been a handy start inside 10 seconds.
Tell me about it. In the end, going against the breeze, so that's a fair challenge putting it out on the right-hand side. Schlois found himself with 20 metres of space. Don't know if that should be happening too many times today. Mason Shaw, in fact, it's Strom who collects. Brendan Verrier, the runner on the inside. South for a Mantle, looking precise, going from coast to coast. And Mason Shaw is going to line up from about 45 out on the outer side.
That's hard to defend, and there's a lot of whistleblowing going here at the moment. I can tell you that was easy. That's hard to defend when Blaine Wilson's allowed to make unlimited metres out from a kick-in. They've got to set up quicker, West Coast.
For his third goal in the afternoon. Early goings here in the second quarter. Mason Shaw sets sails. It's going to be to the top of the square. Numerous bodies flying for that one, but in the end off hands and the first score of the second quarter. Usually Kurt Mutimer kicking out from full-back, or would share duties with Jackson Nelson, but an emergency for tonight's game against the Gold Coast. Nelson kicks down the line, very good. Fraser McInnes, sturdy hands there from the big workhorse, feeds to Ainsworth. Ball is low down for Robiliard.
Oh.
Bit of a piggyback ride from South Fremantle. Umpire says not enough force. In fact, it's holding the ball. So the piggyback from Dents worked nicely then.
Yeah, I thought the umpire missed that. He fell into his back. There's little doubt about that. But anyway, should have got the ball out. But now they've got to defend this, West Coast.
Not a ton of options. Must go long. Oh, what a fly from Akers. Went about 2 weeks too early and from behind Edwards, but he's going to get none of it. Hang on, the umpire's pointing 40 different ways, but in the end, I think the attempt from Akers has been pulled back. Unlucky. Ball plays on, but it's straight to the safe hands of Joshy Rotham. Fair sequence there, Tim.
It was an unbelievable. It was almost like it was some sort of basketball
off the trampoline.
Off the trampoline act, the way they went up.
Jackson Nelson moves past his opponent with a bit of shimmy shake, heads down the line, but tremendous contested mark, and the Bulldogs have it yet again from an intercept possession. Pearson opts to go the broadcast side, an absolute stink bomb of a kick. Brander goes off the turf. West Coast need to provide a bit of pressure here at ground level. Smith does just that. In the end, no player can... Oh, the cavalry arrives for the Bulldogs side. It's scrappy here at the moment. Brander works hard to feed it to Smith. In turn, Hug wants to go onto it. Brayshaw collects, opts for the inside. Terrific pinpoint pass from Hamish Brayshaw. They want to move it on. Nick Reid quickly finds the skipper at the top of the square, and he's hit the turf with his backside, but it doesn't matter. No blooper reel there, because that's West Coast's second goal and the first of the second quarter.
Yeah, nice work. Right place, right time. Mate, hard work of the big unit. But anyway, that was good work. It was good work at half forward. Brander got involved. Smith got involved. Hug got involved. And it really was a 50-50 ball out here on the members' wing. They needed to win that contest. As we take a look, there's the flying mark. So it was up and over. And in the end, it was over the top, Big Harry, but it wasn't paid.
Would have been mark of the millennium for Akers.
It was a great mark by Akers. He went up high, but in the end, it was a good mark by Harry Edwards, but of course not paid. But in the end, they got the ball at the right end of the ground, and that's their second for the afternoon.
Well, McInnes couldn't have been more pumped to find out there was a stream this afternoon. If he missed that goal after hitting the deck, he would have been that flat. There was a stream on this afternoon.
He did say, "Can we go kindly on him today?"
Terrific work, Keegan Brooksby.
Skipper.
West Coast with the clearance. Lands at the half-forward flank. Smith doing battle. Wins. The ball does Florenka. Puts his teammate under the pump. This is Hug. Shirks the tackle. Very scrubby ball in. Pings off of Matty Allen's chest. Brander collects smoothly. Just sends it high to the top of the square. Bounces off of South Fremantle's chest. Bit of a slippery footy at the moment. Ball at ground level. Terrific handball off the deck. Feeds Nick Reid. Oh, it's touched. That would have been his first goal in the WAFL competition. And Robiliard with that cheeky little handball at ground level. I think we'll see it again here on replay. That was fantastic work. Nick Reid, a natural left footer, so he's done well to even make connection there, as most left footers do on their right.
And he wasn't happy with himself, but this is much better from West Coast. They're winning a lot of these 50-50 balls. Luke Webster, whatever he said, they've responded.
We're going to have a stoppage at the right forward flank for the West Coast Eagles. Doing the early attacking here in the second quarter. Need to keep the foot down and chomp into this 13-point lead heading into the Bulldogs' way. Ball up. Work there from Brooksby, looking for Archie. Ball at ground level. A little bit of a DDT pile driver there, but it looks like everyone's okay. Umpire says, I'll have it.
They just look better structured at the moment around the footy in a one-on-one. They've got one-on-one behind the ball. I'm really liking this, and there seems to be the communication seems to be working in this second quarter from West Coast.
Not much room to operate here for either side. Umpire looking for his second ball up. In fact, he's held the whistle for a long time. He's paid the free kick against West Coast. Give me that free kick count when you got a second there, Tim.
I can't find it. I've been looking for it myself.
We'll make our own. 20 to 2, we'll call it. Florenka
it
kicks for
certainly has been favouring the Bulldogs.
Kicks for distance. Rotham tidy ball from behind. Tidy collect as well. But a terrific tackle from Ainsworth halts the run of attack from the Bulldogs, and we'll have a ball up just in front of the commentary box, and the members stand here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval.
I actually don't think they've got the free kick count on the stat sheet that I'm looking at on the website.
I guess the Bulldogs are controlling the stats at the end of the day. Archie with a whipping tackle there. Umpire was about to blow the whistle. Let it play on. Dragovic is escorted over the boundary line by Ainsworth. We'll have a throw in. Yes, like all of that defensive pressure there from Archie. One of the best handballers in this West Coast Eagles lineup. Handballs further than I can kick. Embarrassing, I know. Higgins, Schloith. Bangs it round the corner to centre half forward. Running back with the flight was Brander. Gutsy stuff. Handball looking for Archie. Was at his feet. There is about 20 players. Throw a blanket over all of them at the moment. No clear clearance. Umpire says we'll ball it up inside the centre square.
This is just better from West Coast. Simply better. There's no easy ball from South Fremantle, which we saw for about half of that first quarter, where South Fremantle won a lot of these contests, and they are getting the rub of the green from the free kick count at the moment. But if you have the ball, you have more chance of getting the free kicks, and South Fremantle are getting in and under, and there's another example with Kate Stewart.
Matty Allen high tackle. Stewart sends it inside the pocket. South Fremantle. Crummers looking dangerous. Higgins certainly not one of those dangerous men, but works the handball. In the end, Curnow says, boys, let's relieve some pressure here. Bangs it down the middle, but it's straight into the arms of Mascos. And South Fremantle again, another chance to reload. This is Pearson. Umpire's called play on. Robiliard, terrific left-handed smother. And he's going to go up and bother up again for his second attempt.
Again.
Terrific work there from Robiliard. Terrific 2 efforts there. And the umpire's pinged a throw, has he? Of course he has. Going the way of Dent, but terrific work there from Liam Robiliard.
Yeah, and Joel Ashman got involved as well, the former Subiaco player. He's a very talented player at the amateur level, so he'd be pleased with that work rate.
Kick forward. Curnow attempts the spoil. Fisher at ground level just needs to see it out. Munkara looking dangerous, but in the end, the boundary line wins out.
South Fremantle struggling to get on the board now at the moment. So this is much better from West Coast. All these contests, I'll say it again, Luke Webster and the West Coast Eagles coaching staff purely have said, boys, we can't allow them to get away from stoppages so easy. And they've shut that down. That's a good sign.
Williams against Higgins. Higgins works him under the ball. Little feed, left foot, snap on goal from the Bulldogs. It's not on target. Through for a behind. 14-point lead in favour of the home side. Played just under 10 minutes here in the second quarter. Rotham, a bit uncertain at the moment, opts for the short kick into the pocket, finds Fisher.
Gee, the stats are very close. South Fremantle have gone by hand 38 more times than West Coast. 69 to 31 handballs. Hit-outs are the same. Inside 50s the same. And also the tackle count is the same. And marks the same. So it is only the handball where is there a disparity in the stats here this afternoon. And maybe the free kicks.
Nelson's kick only as far as Higgins. He opts for the long ball to the top of the square. Schloith dangerous at behind the pack. Turns inboard, wants to use his left. Ainsworth corrals him on the line. Gives his teammates a chance. Mason Shaw 2 behind. In is Russell, quickly snaps it on the boot, but it's hooking across the face. Almost putting a dent in the Camry out back.
Free kick count, 11-4, South Fremantle's way. Not that the coaching staff can do much about that, but it will turn eventually. It always does.
Nelson will opt to go with the breeze.
It's the noise of affirmation here at Fremantle.
Oh, almost brings it down on the second attempt there from Williams. McInnes butters up well. A couple of big, tall bodies working for West Coast. Hamish Brayshaw, terrific defensive tackle, dispossesses his opponent there. Archie with a terrific turn. Umpires pay to throw. Going the way of the Bulldogs. It's going to be Hayden. Calls play on. That's an absolute stinker floater of a ball, but it might work for Schloith.
Clever.
Off his hands, Munkara finds the Sandover medalist. 2 balks. Has a chance to steady. Chance for goal of the day. Hayden Schloith, take a bow.
How good is that? He has become a noted goal kicker this year, Hayden Schloith, doing a lot of his work in the forward 50, less through the midfield. That was just sheer class. And on Melbourne radio this week, they were talking about players that could go back up a level. And we know that his name's been mentioned for a long time to play AFL. That had real class on him. Again, West Coast won't be happy. Not getting a hand on him on a couple of times inside 50. They've got to be better than that in that situation. This is a handy buffer now, out to 21 points. Scoring shots, 12-6, probably tells the story.
Knows where the big sticks are, Hayden Schloith. 155 goals in 133 games. Not bad for a midfielder. And in the end, all that candy sold was bought by all the West Coast Eagles defenders. .21 margin in favour of the home side as the umpire. They've spotted something here. It's going, no. What's going on here, Tim? They're wasting a bit of time.
No, it's the 6-6 rule, I think. They've just pulled this South Fremantle player out to come up onto the wing in Kyle Russell.
That's why you're paid the big bucks, a.k.a. Alan's party mix. As we restart play in the centre. O'Neill, good defensive work.
They give me indigestion, those lollies. They're cheap.
Geez, that's a frightening thought. Brendan Verrier sends it forward for the Bulldogs. Buick, handball to space, really. Not going to work for him, however. Rotham just bangs it long. Who's going to fly here? It's Rebillard. He can't take it. Ball out of play.
Got a stat for you. Hayden Schloith, through his career, has had 307 free kicks and only given away 122. In one season alone, he had 86 free kicks.
Yeah, right. Ducking?
That's what a lot of people said.
Just a great fella, perhaps. As we restart play on the outer side, Archie working hard at ground level, feeds O'Neill. West Coast a chance to move forward here. 2v2. Brooksby provides a good option. Foley at ground level. Tries to spin out of the dent tackle. Nothing doing. In fact, umpire said illegally. This will be out of range for the first-year West Coast Eagle, former Subi product. Foley hasn't got too many options to go to. Sees one in the pocket he likes. It's big Fraser McInnes. Got a few to beat. Ball at ground level. Nick Reed. Inventive stuff. Give Brooksby a chance. Rebrilliard roves well, but ran out of real estate. Russell slips over in the square. Dangerous area. Hug with a tremendous tackle. Appeals to the umpire. I'm not paying it there, boys. We'll have a ball up. Right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles.
Need to score from this. Can't allow South Fremantle to march the ball out from the stoppage.
Matty Allen dangerous on the left side here. Brooksby knew all about it. Couldn't find him. Hug, yet another tackle. Need more of those in defensive 50. Higgins, left foot. Get it out of here option. Rotham working hard with Veria. Veria's fist wins out over the boundary line for yet another throw in.
South Fremantle have steadied, there's no doubt about that. West Coast certainly got the better part of the opening 10 minutes, but in the last 3 or 4, South Fremantle certainly levelled things off.
21-point margin here, almost halfway through the second quarter. Higgins, all class in the hit out, looking for Donaldson. Snap kick from O'Neill. Brooksby, the target. Good spoil there from Strom. Subin working hard in the contested ball. Just gets his hands on it. West Coast working hard. The tackling pressure is immense. And they'll lock it up just at the top of the goal square. Ball living inside the attacking 50 for the Eagles in the previous 2 minutes, Tim. They need to capitalise.
Yeah, there's plenty of players around this ball. It's going to be very hard to clear this stoppage. They need something like Matthew Allen gave him in the first quarter.
Brooksby takes front position, can't capitalise. Subin says, get it out of there. Rotham provides a contest. Free kick against Veria. Rotham will take it. No idea what he's going to go to.
Well, he's got nothing to go to. It's just to everyone. Look at this, the number of players around this contest.
Too many. Oh, tall timber from the back. Has he paid it? No. Would love to see that on replay. Brooksby not arguing, but in the end, almost had 2 bites of the cherry and what would have been a certain West Coast Eagles goal. As we see Rotham, the only option to go long. Oh, a little bit of almost maybe as the ball restarts back at the top of the square. Subin can't get a hold of the big workhorse. He's put it through the big sticks, but touched by about 20 players. And a rush behind for the Eagles. Makes it a 20-point margin for the home side.
Yeah, South Fremantle will be loving this, just kick and hope. And almost have to put the ball a little bit further out from goal. South Fremantle just getting numbers back. And they're going to go straight down the guts here. South Fremantle could be out.
Good work there from Smith to prevent the mark, but it's not going to matter. Here comes Munkara. Foot race against Curnow. You would hate to be in this position for young Mitchie Curnow. Munkara wants to go back to his natural left. Hooks it round the corner, and that is all class.
Yep, he's an exciting boy from the Tiwi Islands, and that's what everyone says he can do. And that was just perfect scenario. It was everyone was down one end of the ground. South Fremantle just banged it out as quick as they could, almost Pagan's paddock-like. And as you mentioned, young Curnow was always going to be up against it. Munkara is a talented player, and that is really hurting West Coast on the scoreboard. Luke Webster won't be happy with that because West Coast, they really got caught basically in transition. They had no one in the back half.
How's the celebration too, if you don't mind? Curnow couldn't have done much about it until the centre square. Can't ever give Munkara or the likes of that speed a 10-metre gap at any point.
Yeah, it's a worrying sign now in this game. It's now out to 26 points. We're only midway through the second quarter. And the breeze certainly going South Fremantle's way at the moment.
Umpire to restart play. Strom v Williams. Main slips through his hands right to the waiting hands of Sloyth. Sends towards 50. Good spoil from Riak. Rotham working hard. Veria feeds it out. Again, South Fremantle good around the clutches. Kick towards the dangerous area. Harry Edwards needs to hold. Can't. Munkara again. Good tackle to dispossess him. Matty Allen, here's the voice, puts Curnow or Fisher right under the pump. Mason Shaw, Donaldson with a heap of time. It's too easy for the Bulldogs here. That's his second.
Yeah, second multiple goal kicker now for South Fremantle, and they are really putting the foot on the West Coast Eagles' throat at the moment. And it goes back to the middle of the ground. Too many easy possessions out of the middle, so they're going to have to shore that up here, West Coast. And it's very hard to defend when the ball just comes in so easily, and it certainly is coming that way at the moment. Let's take a look at some of the stats for Hungry Jacks. Hayden Schluitz had 16, 9 kicks. He's had 7 handballs, and of course he's also kicked a goal. Dragovic has had 14, Veria 14, and Subin off the back half has had 13. Brock Higgins is dominating. He's had 13 hitouts and 11 possessions. For the West Coast Eagles, only one player at this stage in double-figure disposals, and that's Jackson Nelson. He's had 10, 9 to Archie, Ainsworth and Rotham have had 9.
As we see Curnow copying a bit of a hit behind play, though, in the contest. He's escorted off by the trainers. Let's hope he's okay.
So again, it's a 6-6 rule. West Coast were making a change then, trying to get on the ground Daniel Akers. So it's going to be a ball up, not a bounce down. That's the rule.
So the big workhorse skipper in the middle now, Ainsworth, collects, but Schloith quickly wraps him up. We'll see another ball up inside the centre circle. Just too much space there from Donaldson inside the forward 50 of the Bulldogs. They've been so good all day, West Coast, at providing pressure around the contest. Can't drop off now. In the end, they could get this clearance, however. Brayshaw just hacks it forward. Dent has room. Oh, high tackle there, however. No, umpire says all legal. Nick Reed, the North Beach legend, handball over the top. This is Hug on the left boot. Kick is almost on target, just a bit off. And a chance going begging there from the West Coast Eagles.
Replay here. Maybe not. It sort of slipped from underneath the arm, went straight over his head. Maybe the umpire got that one right.
South Fremantle again go corridor from full back. Plenty of confidence from the home side. Rotham wants to hold up play here, or so do all the West Coast Eagles. They can't. Dragovic, 1 metre kick does not work. Brander at ground level, can't collect. And win the end, West Coast Eagles through Brayshaw, hold it up, and we'll have a ball up.
Trying to make plenty of changes on the boundary line too. We have Luke Webster. We've got Archie checking in. Smith and Brooksby also checking in as well. So ringing the changes as they trail by 29 points.
I think Curno's just been split open. Looks to be copping some kind of treatment. Hug, little 5 metre kick, nothing doing. Subin says, I'll take that, and bang it again down the corridor. Akers through his hands. Good collect there from Stewart, showing some pace there. Akers trying to corral him. Stewart falls over and's got enough time to recover inside 50. Pressure on Harry Edwards here. Can he collect? Shaw takes him without it. Umpire says play on. Munkara lurking. Top of the square. And in the end, the first-year Eagle and Harry Edwards, illegal or not, he's done well to hold it up.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look at the replay, line ball. Umpire was right there. Could have also been holding the ball against Shaw after that.
Umpire balls it up. Shaw trying to get the kick out from the square. Brayshaw just trying to get a kick out, the West Coast Eagles. A tripping free kick's going to go the way of West Coast.
Archie will get
and Archie will take it. And an Archie wants to get this ball out of harm's way. Does just that. Sends it long. Brooksby the target. Strong hands there from Keegan in front of Noah Strom.
They need more of that. He needs to impose himself in those contests around the ground.
Play on's the call. He'd love to be on the end of this pass. In the end, the ruckman, precise skills, sees O'Neill. The Eagles' first draft choice in the 2018 draft, hampered by a knee injury, which halted his pre-season progress, but he's back on track well. Young Xavier sends it down the line, floating across his Strom, and he escorts it out. And we'll have a throw in. 70 metres from West Coast goal.
Yeah, slow ball movement, but hats off to South Fremantle. They are structuring up well behind the footy. They had 2 or 3. Higgins just places himself behind the contest, makes it very hard. West Coast have to work their way through this. Maybe a switch of direction, maybe get it across to the far side of the ground.
West Coast would love to eat into this 31-point margin currently held by South Fremantle. West Coast doing their best to get this forward 50 entry. Bailey Williams spun about 40 times, but in the end, Keegan Brooksby's received it. Bit of a sweeper roll, sends it up. Brander's got eyes for the ball, and the umpire said he had enough of it. And a chance for Jared Brander to put through a much-needed goal for the Eagles.
Well, it wasn't a great kick, but it was a quick kick, and there were contests. There was some space in there. South Fremantle have had so many players in the defensive 50 this quarter that all the West Coast Eagles kicks have gone into 10 or 12 players. On that occasion, Brander had a one-on-one. He had the best position. They need a goal. That's an understatement. But closing in up to half-time, they've got to get themselves on the board.
Jared Brander coming in for his hopefully first goal of the afternoon. Needs to start at right stick. He does the opposite. It's moving left and slams into the woodwork. And a chance goes begging there from West Coast. They shrink this margin, but only narrowly. 30 points. Again, South Fremantle happy to go corridor. Archie guts his stuff back with the flight. It's going to be another chance for South Fremantle. Russell just bangs it forward. Who are the runners? Steve Verrier is one of them. Handball didn't do his teammate any favours, but he's going to make it work. Terrific. Lowers the eyes. And look how many options they've got in the forward 50. Mason Shaw had about 3 to go to. And in the end, South's leading goal kicker will put it upon himself to go back from 40 and slot it through.
I'd be very surprised if Luke Webster doesn't really work on the kick-ins from South Fremantle. They are taking that option, short way home down the middle, and they're dirty balling it to inside 50. They're not happy to throw the ball up in the air. They want to make it hard for the West Coast defence, kick it in low, make West Coast Eagles defence turn around under pressure. It's working.
Mason Shaw, the vice-captain, waltzes in for his third major of the afternoon. He's put it through. South Fremantle skipping away now. The margin, 36 points.
Yeah, it all came from, again, transition football. And that's about probably 3 of their last 4 goals here. South Fremantle have come in from marching the ball straight down the middle. As I said, they have trained and played here for 1 month. They have not had to leave this venue, and they are certainly showing that it pays to know these conditions. And that is a very, very handy goal with half-time looming. He is not having to get a lot of the footy to have an impact on the game here. That's his 4th kick for his 3rd goal, Mason Shaw. He's proving to be the difference, but one thing Shaw is coming. It's coming from easy entry because of them the ability to march the ball down from defence.
Impressive strength in the contest from Florenka. Deliver that goal assist there for South Fremantle. The truck, Matty Allen, does his best to extract, but it's stolen by Dragovic to centre half forward for the Bulldogs. Brock Higgins can't contain it. Archie feeds Brayshaw and the Eagles go forward. Good work there from Foley. Ball over the back. Williams keeps his feet, taps it to himself. The ex-basketballer dribbles it well. He's just hung on to it, but what a much-needed goal from West Coast. Take a bow, Bailey Williams.
Much needed, came from a centre clearance, so it does help. Once you get the ball going your way and you get there quickly, you can turn the defence around. That is a very good goal, and it was well done by Big Bailey. He's got some moves.
He's almost dropped the ball at the top of the goal square there, the big fella. I'm pumping up his basketball handle, and he almost let me down.
Well, he didn't in the end, which is much needed, so they've got the margin back to 5 goals, closing in on 25 minutes of this quarter. You're listening and watching, of course, Waffle West Coast Eagles style. Thanks to Hungry Jacks, and we are at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, and the margin is 5 goals. South Fremantle 4th, plays the West Coast Eagles 5th.
I like what Luke Foley did there in his contest. Just worked his man under it, gave Bailey Williams a chance for a 1-out contest, and the big fella delivered the rest. Great work there from the Eagles. Clear centre clearance from Brayshaw to Archie. Bangs it long. Here's a chance in the pocket. Oh, Bailey Williams has flown horribly, but it looked impressive from the first get-go. Let's see a replay of that, if you don't mind. Don't mind some of the boys having a crack at these. Bailey Williams, in the end, giving away an infringing free kick. South Fremantle again opting for the corridor. Archie takes every bit of it, sends it back into a dangerous area. The Flyers, Foley, and the ball's going to escape Smith on this occasion. And we'll have a throw in. Played 25 minutes here. Not long to go, you would think. Have a look at this centre clearance. Brooksby, Brayshaw, mid-air handball. Archie blinked. You would have missed it. Yeah, very clever. And he's actually lifted his rating. Apart from that turnover in the first quarter, he's almost been West Coast's best player. He's up around 13 disposals now. He's working hard at both ends of the ground. Umpires paid a free kick. It's high in the ruck contest. It's going the way of the big workhorse, Fraser McInnes. And Brock Higgins is livid. Back-to-back goals would be handy for West Coast, and to be honest, they get themselves back in the contest. 4 goals is certainly an achievable margin, better than 6. That's there too. Fraser McInnes held first, but he didn't hold high. Brock Higgins came back with a bit of a clothesline. The captain waltzes in and he delivers for the team. Great work, big workhorse. Yeah, back-to-back goals, and all of a sudden, a lot of South Fremantle's good work has not come unstuck, but certainly West Coast and Luke Webster will have a lot more to play with than being 6 goals down at the long break. So that is very, very handy. His 2nd goal, and he's an incredible man to have around your football club, isn't he? Every time you see him, he's always upbeat. He knows his role at the football club. He was given the captaincy of this group. He's just a positive person to be around, and I think Fraser McInnes in any sporting club, in any workplace or any group is a good person to have around. There's just so much energy coming from him, and that's good reward. 2 goals. 100%, Tim. Can't echo those statements enough. A perfect choice as the inaugural captain for this West Coast side. And let's hope he can turn one on here in the second half and get his boys right back in this contest. 2 late goals in red time have just done that. 24 points to the Bulldogs. They'll be going in a little flat. They deserve to be further ahead the way they've played, but West Coast will certainly take this. Archie with yet another clearance. To centre half forward, the workhorse tries to spoil from behind. Matty Allen can't gather. Great spin and work there from Dent. Drives it long to centre half forward. React there. Ball through the hands of South Fremantle. Nelson escapes the tackler. Feeds Edwards. And a precise ball delivery there to Ainsworth on the wing. I want to say it again. Archie's 2nd quarter has been outstanding, but that's the level he needs to be. He needs more of it more often.
and he'll get more opportunities at the better level.
Ainsworth sees Williams on the lead. 3 bites at it, can't take it. Umpire said hanging on. And the whistle swinging back West Coast way all of a sudden, Tim.
Hasn't been the cleanest of his last 3 disposals, let me tell you.
That was right up there with one of the worst. Spots Subin on the chest. And he in turn finds Dent loose at half back. I think South Fremantle will just want to hold up play, bit of possession football and go in 4 goals down at this point. Don't want to give West Coast another chance at pinching one.
No, well, they haven't had much of the footy in the last couple of minutes, so South Fremantle, so they want to hold on to it here.
Poor from West Coast. It was 2v1. They couldn't decide who was flying and who was blocking. And Strom takes every bit of it. His kick is just as poor. The truck, Matty Allen, says thank you very much. He sends it to the pocket. Going back with it is Reed. Foley turns his opponent inside out. Vacant goal square just misses. That would have been a handy one to pinch in the death here.
Whatever, Steve Bandy. No doubt about that. Closing on 29 minutes.
Great work there from Nick Reed, the North Beach product, just providing a contest there. That's all he needed.
He's had 2 opportunities this quarter, hasn't he?
He'll come good, mate. The Beach always do.
He won't be getting a game for North Beach if he kicks like this.
Yeah, we should be rooting against him, to be honest. The South Fremantle want to go short to Dragovic. Played 29 minutes. You couldn't think there's much time left in this contest.
4 goals to 3, a 7-goal quarter. West Coast have outscored South Fremantle in this term.
Subin lowers the eyes, finds Florenka. Almost got crunched by Bailey Williams. He wants to go long down the line. Brooksby's there. Fumbles it over the boundary. We'll have a throw in on the outer side.
The breeze has picked up. It's certainly going across the ground, but if anything, and every time it sort of blows one way or the other, it's normally going to the northern end, the car park end of the ground, so the way South Fremantle are going in this quarter.
Archie looking for yet another clearance in this quarter. Can't on this occasion. South Fremantle, can they steal one late? Curnow through his hands. Edwards there to mop up. West Coast have the numbers out back. Rotham needs to be precise. He is to Matty Allen. Taking the game on the Eagles. Goes down corridor way. Beautiful kick. Opens it up. O'Neill goes to Ainsworth. Shrugs the tackler. Finds McInnes loose here. The big skipper wants to send it in dangerous areas for West Coast. Foley underneath it. Oh, he spills the chest mark in the end. Smith mops up. Quick kick round the corner. He's got it.
They're coming. They have been very good in the last 5 minutes. Luke Webster will be happy with this.
The West Coast Eagles trim the margin, can you believe, to 17 points here in the opening half against what you'd say the favourites in South Fremantle on their home deck.
Well, they weren't. That was a surprise to me coming into the game. West Coast were short price favourites to win this, but with all those
kidding.
No, I'm not, mate. Mate, I don't make stuff up, mate. I deal in facts and facts only. They were the favourites, West Coast, and then had all the outs and still were commanding favourites.
This is a preliminary final team, the Bulldogs. What's the tab doing?
There's a blood rule player coming off, and it's Mascos, of course. Dead set. He looks like his old man Arthur. He does, and that's Jason Mascos coming off under the blood rule, and checking into the game is Zach Dent. So all of a sudden, a 6-goal lead has been whittled down to less than 3, and it's come from sheer hard work and a bit of class around the football as well. And that was another workmanlike goal. And Archie is making a heck of a difference for West Coast. He'd be up and about. That's almost his best quarter of footy this year. Harry's again.
Brooksby wins out. Archie shrugs the tackle, goes low. Umpires paid holding the ball. That's understandable.
It always happens. But at least he's getting to the contest. I like it.
They just need to hold on here. South Fremantle understand. Not much time left. Ball inside, attacking 50. Shaw leads out. Chest mark. Shepherding free kick.
Yep.
It's going the way of Rotham, and it's against Steve Verrier, and that's going to cost South Fremantle a shot at the death here in the second term.
Yeah, Mason Shaw certainly would have been lining up for his 4th goal, so that's a let-off for West Coast, but the umpire was spot on.
React, opts for the long option to the wing. McInnes no doubt the target, fist inboard. Donaldson taken what looked like high from here.
Absolutely it was.
Josh Smith, the tackler, not to be on this occasion. Umpire said you ducked into that. Have a look. It's still pretty high.
Very high.
But as we said, Tim, West Coast just want to hang on, enter this halftime break, and the margin it is. Matty Allen kicks corridor. Good contest there from Foley. Pick up from the Eagles. Smith, handball's over. Yet another chance. Can they pinch another one? Nick Reed lowers the eyes. Bailey Williams steaming out on the lead, and he takes it
What's the big unit like? He doesn't. Is he going to have a shot, or what's he going to do here?
He's going to opt to play on. Sends it long. It looks a bit off to target. It is.
What was the rush?
I don't know.
You know, 5 minutes ago you said that it can't be too much time left.
This is the longest quarter of my life, I think, Tim. Killing for a steak sandwich, and we played 33 minutes.
Oh, I know you are. Tell you what.
I'd say I don't know who wants it to end more, the South Fremantle team or myself.
Yeah, well, Luke Webster doesn't because his team is full of running this quarter. All of a sudden, it's 14 scoring shots to 15, and West Coast are coming. And I think Todd Curley won't be happy the way this game's unravelled over the last 10 minutes.
Buick back feed to Pearson. South Fremantle a chance, but not to be. The timekeeper was ready for that one. And that brings us to the end of the first half here in round 5 of the WAFL at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. West Coast hammering into this lead. They're going to go into the halftime break 16 points down against the home side, South Fremantle.
Trailed by 36 at one stage. 3 goals on the board for, of course, Mason Shaw. Donaldson's got a couple as well, and multiple goal kicker Fraser McInnes for the West Coast Eagles. A very good last 10 minutes for West Coast, and I think Luke Webster will go into that break with a lot more confidence. His team was certainly being hammered around stoppages, and the coast-to-coast transition stuff from back to front for South Fremantle had West Coast at 6s and 7s. But it's half-time thanks to Hungry Jacks. It is the West Coast Eagles 5-9-39. They trail by 16 points. South Fremantle 8-7-55. We'll take a break. Be back with the second half from Fremantle Community Bank Oval. You're watching Waffle Football courtesy of the West Coast Eagles and Hungry Jacks.
No matter how hard life is, there's always a little obstacle that you're going to face. But as long as you talk to someone and come out the other side more motivated, that definitely helps lead the way for how you want to go about your life. Growing up on the TV Islands, I didn't have a lot. So some days we wouldn't have footies, and we used to all go to the little local store, buy a 2-litre bottle of Coke, and when it was empty, we'd kick it around as a football. And you don't want to kick the bottom end or the top end because it's pretty hard. I love going fishing with my uncles. We had beaches, we had boats. We were stressed out just to go out and have a fish, and that just takes your mind off everything. A lot of drugs and alcohol back home. All fishing and hunting kept us away from all that stuff. I was one of the kids that got an opportunity to get a footy scholarship to Xavier College in Melbourne, and I never really looked at a clock until when I went down south. I think I was late to about 4 or 5 of my first classes. 2011, I lost 2 of my close uncles in a space of a month or 2. So that was kind of when I lost interest in playing AFL footy and trying to get drafted. And did have a weight issue then. I just remember throwing in the towel when my 2 uncles passed away. I remember going in to see my nana. She was getting old at the time, and she said to me, get out of Darwin and kind of make something of yourself, stop wasting your talent and go and play footy down south. And that snapped me back into gear. Started playing league footy down there in the Sandful for Glenelg. I found out how hard it was, having the weight I had on at the time, how hard it would be to play senior footy, and started to go to the gym a lot more and started to do extra boxing, extra bike riding, extra running. Seeing those changes in my body, it just gave me more motivation to keep doing it. Growing up, I didn't really understand what goal setting was until I moved down to Adelaide. I just set little goals. When you get closer to achieving them, you make another little goal to chase again. When my partner fell pregnant as well, that was another motivation for me. It helped me, push even more in the weights and in the running I was doing, just to try and get drafted, just to make a better life for my son and for my partners. To hear my name getting called out, pick 52, I was overwhelmed. Coming into West Coast was just unbelievable. Having a good pre-season, slowly my body started getting used to the pace. The last sprint of pre-season pinned my hammy, and that was my first bad injury really in my footy career. Doctor said I was out for about 10 to 12 weeks. I was a bit emotional about it. When my son was born, the third week, when I started walking again after my oppo, that just, kept me motivated and wanted to get back out there. After the 2017 season, Simon come up to me and was like, we're going to come up to the island with you in the off-season, and I didn't know what to say when he said that. Not many coaches that come up to Indigenous places home, and made me really understand how much he cares for his players. There's like a little pontoon about 1.5 meters long that we've got to walk on to get on the boats, and there's a dog up there that had bite marks on its back. Like, he got grabbed by a croc down by the jetty. Him and JG was pretty scared to walk on the jetty. I remember I was in a meeting and Simon got me to stand up in front of the group, and I actually thought I was in trouble at the time when he said, Willie, you're playing this week. And I was overwhelmed by it. I guess all the hard work, not just, the year before, but from when my nana told me to get out of Darwin. And after the Hawthorn game, that was when my confidence kind of grew, and I said to myself after that game, I can play at this level. I just remember watching all the parades and that Cyril used to be on, and never pictured myself being on one of those. All he said was just to go out there and have fun, and just picture playing back home in front of 2,000 people instead of 100,000. So that was how I went out and approached the game. When the siren went, I fell to the ground, started boiling my eyes out, crying. Kind of laid there just looking up at the sky, and all that hard work just came in that one little moment. To take the cup back up home, and I was able to realise how much it means to my family and my friends, and all the people that helped get me to where I am now. Having a little boy at home, he just puts it into perspective that, football's not going to be there forever for me. Being that positive role model for kids back home, opening their eyes up, could be one of them, down the track.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
People telling me I wouldn't make it gave me all the motivation I needed. It all began with my brother. He's been playing footy since he was a little tacker. Me in the kitchen with Dad, cutting up the oranges, going down to his games, and I always remember sitting on the sidelines, just kind of a thought that I love sport, but this isn't really one I can pursue. The stereotype of being a girl that you had to play netball, or you had to play soccer, or you had to play one of these women's sports that were already established. My friends Mickey and Brie actually came up to me and said, look mate, Swan District's down in Bassendean having like an open day, so this was kind of an opportunity. So we went down there, and I remember the first feeling. I remember shaking, these girls' hands that were complete strangers to me. You kind of sit back and you think, well, these girls relate. We were teammates for life. Like, it's not even just this club, it's the footy community. It's just a family, and that heartfelt feeling of, you're here and you belong. Sooner than later came about the 18s trials. Ended up making it through, I think it was the first selection of state trials, then into making the state 18s team, and played, interstate sides, and it was just incredible. At this point in time, I had found my dream, and I had found my passion that I'd been looking for so long. But on the other side of things, I was struck down with a knee injury. It was a stress fracture of which was caused by overtraining. Me as a person, I'm just someone that wants to better myself every day, and this knee injury really did sink my heart a little bit at the time. Yeah, it was a long time for me of learning about myself. It was kind of a point of realisation where I thought, everything that you've been through before hasn't stopped you, then why should this?
We went to the specialist after Michaela had injured her knee. It was pretty bad news at the time that she was told she was going to have sort of 3 to 4 months off. The physio wanted you to get an exercise bike, and on the way home from that, just happened to be a street Verge collection. We spotted this very old, rusty,
lovely bike.
We parked the car and opened the boot, and there's the two of us on the corner of Charles Street. Little beast into the back of the car, and Michaela used it every night, every morning.
You know, moving to a new school in year 12, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. We were sitting in sport class and we had a choice whether to do, you know, sport or private study, and I'd trained before, so I pulled up quite sore. I was injured with my knee, so I was quite emotional of that as well. For once in my life, I actually, you know, put my hand out because I was smart enough, you know, to know that I needed that recovery and that rest. One of the teachers actually looked at me and he goes, "You should be training at this level." He just stood there and he shook his head. I remember hearing him under his breath, he just mumbles to himself, "You're never going to make it." As hard enough, you know, as my days had been throughout, you know, my last year of school, I remember just feeling my heart physically sink. That was a breaking point for me, and walking home after that class, I just bawled out into tears because after putting in so much hard work and, you know, after being through this tiring, you know, recovery and rehab of a knee, at this point is one that I'll remember for the rest of my career. Ever since that moment, it's a kind of fact of going, you're not ever going to let someone tear you down again. Last year, I was lucky enough to be a part of the first ever Eagles Academy. It was an absolute dream come true. How involved everyone is, how accepted and how equal the club is. And you get to share the knowledge of people the likes of Adam Selwood and Drew Petrie and these incredible humans and incredible players that have gone through, you know, what we're about to go through. Jan Cooper she's been knocked down through years in her life, and, you know, look where she is now. And for me, that's a big inspiration. I was lucky enough to be picked up as one of the first ever AFLW players for the Eagles, and I just can't explain it. I can't explain the feeling, and it's a sense of relief that I've found my passion in sport, and it's an absolute opportunity of a lifetime, and I honestly would trade nothing in the world for this. I'm here now, and, you know, this is where the hard work starts for me, really, really starts for me. I see every day as an opportunity to improve myself, improve others, and I'm honestly so excited to get started, so bring on 2020.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with Menulog.
If female footy development was ever going to take off and we were ever going to get to a national league, you just didn't take no for an answer. Don't take it personally, just try different ways, different paths. I fell in love with the game because of my dad. I used to follow him to his football matches. From an early age, I was given that signal that I couldn't play football, that it was just for my brothers and, you know, other boys. And it was quite annoying because I wasn't bad at kicking the pack in the backyard. There was a time, for example, when a current boyfriend I had, I took a specky mark over him and he got really furious. I'd always been involved as an avid fan with Swan Districts because that was my dad's club. Because I had a human movement degree and I'd done lots of first aid, he said, "Would you like to perhaps be a trainer?" And I thought, yeah, I'd love to, in an era where that wasn't the done thing. And then as I got older, my husband was working in football development. He came home one day and said, "Do you want to come and watch the Women's League Grand Final?" I went, "What? There's a Women's League?" But I was too old by then. For a split second there, I thought, I wonder if I possibly could. But no, the opportunity passed me by. So when I joined the WA Football Commission, it had me getting girls involved at every role, at every level. When we went to Clubland, we realised that we actually had to spend a lot more time providing some evidence about why it would be a good thing for the club to have females involved. And it was things like, well, isn't football going to hurt my daughter, you know? Well, aren't they going to lose their femininity? Well, what's being feminine mean? To me, it's being confident, empowered, having a go at whatever you want to have a go at. One of the other barriers was the resourcing side of things. It took me a fair bit of cajoling to get me, as the WA Football Commission rep, to my first Women's National Carnival and help the state team. There was lots of other practices that I felt could be elevated to make it a much better experience. So I wrote an email to the AFL saying, "This is what I found. How about these ideas to help perhaps resolve the issues or concerns that I have?" So David Matthews was the one I sent this to, and he went, "Yeah, I like the sound of this. Oh, off you go, do it one day a week for the AFL." But then the following year, the AFL went, you have to be full-time with us, and we have to get a full-time female development manager into every state and territory as a minimum. At that point, there were 16,000 girls and women running around. In 2010, we then set a national vision, which was if we could have 250,000 women and girls running around, we would have the depth of talent to put on the park a national league. And we would hope by then we'll have developed it enough that it would be televised. But before all of that happened, of course, there was so many other barriers. Every state manager in female football development was now experiencing exactly the same things as I had done in the past. And so that's when I changed my thinking from maybe instead of trying to change a whole system, a whole organisation, what if I just pick off the major decision makers and start to make an impact there? So when Richard Goyder became the chair of the AFL, he was a keynote speaker at a leadership conference in Perth. So I thought, gee, it'd be really nice while we're in the same room together to be able to have a quick chat. So when he got off the stage, I virtually hightailed it across the room. What are you up to now, Richard? Is there any chance we can have a chat? And he said yes. I was able to go through and chat to him about particular issues. And at that point, there was a call to arms, and he did enact a particular action to help out. We had an exhibition game prior to a Melbourne-Collingwood match at the MCG, the 40 best female talents. Andrew Demetrio was the CEO of the AFL at the time, and I'd been trying to get him to see a female game, and apparently was going, how good is this? That's when the naysayers started paying attention, because they actually understood how good these girls were. When I watch AFLW games now, I have so much tears of joy moments. It's when you're walking through the crowd and you ask a young girl, who's your favourite player? And they actually can reel off about 3 or 4 AFLW players. And when I see some of those early girls like Chelsea Randall, Kiara Bowers, Daisy Pearce, Emma Zilke, who've given their heart and soul to this game, have expended thousands of dollars on their own talent pathway development, my heart just leaps with joy for them, because I know what their road's been like. If one pathway doesn't work for you, then try a different one. There's lots of different ways to get to different destinations. And if you mix that in with a bit of tenacity, a bit of bravery, then you're going to get there.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
Welcome back. The teams are on the ground for the second half of action at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, and it is a 16-point lead into the second half. Let's take a look at the highlights thanks to Hungry Jack's, and it certainly was all one-way traffic in the first half of that second quarter, and the West Coast Eagles defence was under enormous pressure.
It was in danger of massive blowout territories at one point of this game. Hayden Schloy certainly stamping his authority on this game, as you knew he would. Little handball here, delicate touch. Munkara did his best to volleyball it in the air and make someone else take it. But have a look at the acres of room that big Mason Shaw had. 3 for the first half, and the big fella. Hard to stop at this point. And when you think that Josh Rotham, what a tremendous non-paid mark that was in favour of Harry Edwards. And we've got to say, the tackling pressure and the ferocity around the contest, despite Hayden Schloy balking around 2 of our tacklers there. Probably not great timing when I'm talking about tacklers.
No.
But it was evident and great to see. Have a look at this. Poor Mitchy Kerno. Geez, I felt sorry for him. You could put an absolute cork in him at the start of it, because Munkara said, thanks very much, that's bread and butter, and one of the better celebrations going around in the WAFL.
It was, and this was the stage that South Fremantle got themselves to 6 goals in front. It came after Mason Shaw posted his 3rd goal, and you thought, hello. The last 9 minutes of the quarter, West Coast added 3 goals too, and although he did it the hard way, he dropped it, got it back. He actually made a difference late in the term. Big Fraser McInnes has got a couple, the skipper, and all of a sudden the wheel turned thanks to Hungry Jack's, those halftime highlights. It certainly went back West Coast way. So at the 23-minute mark of the second quarter, Shaw kicked a goal. South Fremantle led by 36 points. In the next 9 minutes, West Coast, 3 goals, 2, and they've got it into a respectable 16-point margin. That's what Luke Webster will be taking down to them. And it came on the back of, I thought Archie was outstanding in that second quarter. Let's take a look at some of those stats for the way that it unfolded. And we must make mention too of young Jason Mascos, because we had him down for a milestone moment, which we let through to the keeper.
Oh, the 300th mark. Is that what we're referring to from young Mascos? I reckon he's taken 2 and we still missed it. He took 1, we still missed it.
Yeah, exactly right.
He's taken 2. So he shattered his 300 mark record.
Came off under the blood rule. 15 disposals to Archie. Very good second quarter. Ainsworth 11, Nelson 11, Rotham 11, Smith 10. Hamish Brayshaw got more of it in that second quarter, 9. Big Fraser McInnes has had 8. Matty Allen, the Trucks, had 8. And Kieran Hugg and Keegan Brooksby also has had 8. Looking forward to this second half of action. I think Luke Webster's message to his group, let's start this second half the same way we finished the first.
Well, you know, the Bulldogs would have copped an absolute rocket at half-time for letting that 37-point margin slip. You know, they're going to come out firing. It's about weathering that storm, hanging tough, digging in, and having a good old-fashioned crack here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Here is the start of the second half. Round 5 action coming to you on behalf of the West Coast Eagles and Hungry Jacks, as it's a pretty perfect bounce there in the middle. Hayden Schloith worn like a glove there from Archie. Umpire says, give it to me, we'll do it all again. Hamish Brayshaw, great around the clinches in that second quarter and contested ball-winning beast, as is the DNA of all of the Brayshaws. Bit of aerial ping-pong going on there in the centre square. Ball dribbles out, Hugg can't get a hold of it. Dragovic head over the footy, as to Archie.
Better.
The umpire says, we'll do it again, boys. It's important. The first goal of this quarter, you feel, Tim, a big momentum swayer. Ball drifts out the back. Brander shirks one. Handballs to himself almost. Bit of a good fake. Hands to Brayshaw. Wants to send it long to the pocket. Bailey Williams, the target. Noah Strom with him. Ball trickles out of bounds, and West Coast a good chance to set up here.
And that situation for Bailey Williams, that's what the coach wants. Don't worry about if you don't mark it, but bring it to ground, make a contest. No easy outs for South Fremantle, and that's what Bailey Williams started to do in that second quarter.
I love this. Big Fraser McInnes says, I'll have it, boys. Can he set up another goal? In fact, Brock Higgins says, not this time. I'll do the centre clearance myself. Good spoil from Monkara. Sets up the Bulldogs here. Good handball. Mason Shaw receives. Got plenty of time. Sends it to centre half forward. Scrubber kick. Fisher leads out. It's well taken by Dylan Main. And we'll have a ball up.
Again, too easy. It's too easy to get it from the last line to centre half forward with 2 possessions. West Coast got to make them work harder to transfer that ball.
Brooksby down to Archie. Back to Brooksby. Brayshaw sees Ainsworth. They break on the opposite side of the boot. Ainsworth sends it forward. Mascos in the road of big Bailey Williams. South Fremantle taken without it. Umpire says not enough in it. Nick Reid does well. Feeds to Rebillard. Can West Coast give their forwards a chance here? Here we go. Nick Reid on the left boot. His favoured side sends it forward. Josh Smith a chance. Runs out of real estate. And the ball out on the full left forward pocket for the Eagles.
He's had some chances. Is he cleaner in North Beach? Is he cleaner at North Beach with his disposals? Was he feeling the pressure in his league debut here today?
You can play him anywhere down at North Beach, but strictly a forward role for big Nick Reid today in his waffle debut. Ball out to the wing. No clear winner there. Good defensive tackle from Rotham, but South Fremantle with the numbers. Veria sends it forward. Up flies Curnow. Zach Strom too big, too strong. Dylan Main strings back towards goal. Wants to look for Monkara. 1 out against Curnow. Dangerous times for West Coast Eagles. Monkara with a fist in. Umpire doesn't pay it. Wants to wheel around on that left boot. Centering option, and that is precise footy.
What about that?
From Monkara. Spots, is it Buick? It is. Buick from South Fremantle will line up 30 metres out directly in front, and you can't defend that, Tim.
Nah, he's very talented, is Monkara. We've seen him do some remarkable things today, and they want to get it down to him in those one-on-one situations. And look, I don't want to speak ill of the defence on that occasion, Curnow, but Monkara will be doing that to anyone at another level. He's outstanding.
To hold the momentum of a 3 straight goal West Coast run. Buick comes in, he's hooked it with the breeze. A let off from West Coast. And the margin goes out to 17 points.
Interesting to see if West Coast want to go similar way that South Fremantle do and take the short way home. But they're not going to. I think they're going to go far side.
They're going to play it safe. Jackson Nelson Opts for the short ball. Finds Riak, the Category B rookie. Tremendous basketballer, as you'd expect. His short kick is dangerous. Donaldson mops it up. Some reason says, boys, hold your leads. Finds Buick yet again. Riak mops up for his earlier error. Terrific work there from the West Coast Eagle. How about the pickup from Nick Reed? Go North Beach, go son. The left foot snaps to no one in particular. In fact, it's an absolute snotter.
Yeah, it is.
I've pumped him up too soon. Sue into the side. Takes a relieving mark. Hayden waxes with Noah Strom. His kick's even worse. Have no idea who he's aiming for there. Kerno says, I'll take it every day of the week. Ops in board for Nelson. Ainsworth again. I think he'd love to use his left foot sometime soon. Great pickup from the workhorse. Feeds Fisher. Kicks for distance. Josh Smith's got acres of room. Will he play on? 45 out. Distance will test him, but he opts to hold things up. And into the breeze. This is going to take his best effort, Tim.
Yeah, Brander was trying to get a one-on-one then against Russell. He had some size, but now Smith's got to back himself in here. He wouldn't know this ground at all, Josh Smith.
Let's hope he stamps his authority here on the right forward flank. Sends it forward. It's not going to be a score. Bailey Williams, the front option. Can't get full possession on it. Terrific tackling. Schloith ends up with it, though. Dribbles it along the boundary line. Is it deliberate? Umpire is hot on the whistle. We like that, sir. Josh Rotham wants to move about 1 week early, but the umpire says, not just yet, son. He's going to boot it to dangerous areas. Top of the square. Higgins flies, as too does Williams. Subin there at ground level, can't get boots a ball. Good pressure from West Coast, but South Fremantle, Blaine Wilson didn't like what he saw on the outer side and just kicks in hope. Rotham takes good possession, stacks on the mill. Has he made enough effort? Doesn't matter. Umpire said no time. Ball up inside Eagles forward 50.
Nick Subin very sore. That could be a bonus for West Coast. He's a bit of a quarterback down back and he's limping badly after that contest.
Cheering injuries, Tim. Never thought I'd see the day, but go West Coast. Ball hits down ground level. Picked up there, Dragovic, the recipient.
It's better.
Starting kick, good spoil there from Kerno. West Coast need to dig in hard here. Shaw kicks for space. Nelson leads in the race. Can the ball sit for him? It can. Boundary line's his friend. Throws it to any teammate in particular. Members saw every bit of it. Umpire, none of it.
They did.
And in the end, a let off for West Coast. Ball up, right forward flank for the Bulldogs.
Still clever by Jackson Nelson to come to the boundary line. He could have turned back into trouble, but he came to the boundary line, dodged one, certainly threw it, no doubt.
Brooksby takes front position. Higgins winds up in the hands of Cade Stewart. Tremendous kick to full forward. Mason Shaw didn't have to break stride. Play on, says the umpire. Just dinks a little kick forward. Edwards needs to wear his opponent like a glove. Turns him, does well. Munkara lurking. Boundary line wins. A chance for West Coast to set up and hopefully get this ball out of this dangerous area.
Nick Subin's okay, being treated by the South Fremantle. The Magic Spray's done its bit.
Did his groin here 2 weeks ago against West Perth. Bulldogs be happy to have their veteran back in the lineup to steady the ship. Down in defence, Stewart providing a good tackle there. Umpire says, give it to me. Just the 17-point margin in favour of the Bulldogs at the moment. No change from the half-time margin at present. Brooksby down to Smith. Couldn't get his kick away. Foley taken high. Umpire sees none of it. We'll have yet another throw up. 30 metres out. South Fremantle goal.
We've been going 7 minutes and we still haven't a goal in this quarter, and that's what we talked about. First goal will be a momentum changer, one way or the other.
Dylan Main lurking, full forward snap off the body there from Florenka. There's the opening goal of the quarter. Umpire says all clear. Bulldogs extend the lead.
And that's what hurts. Stoppage, 25 metres out from goal, and that's what West Coast got themselves into trouble early. So again, we go back to basics. Win those stoppages, win those 50-50 balls, and that was a very good goal. And that is the first goal of the second half, exactly what South Fremantle would want. That's their first goal since just into time on second quarter when Mason Shaw posted his third. So West Coast have still got a bit of work to do, but the game is certainly, well, for want of a better cliche, an arm wrestle at the moment. But again, back-to-back goals will be crucial for South Fremantle.
Florenka certainly not the target there of Brock Higgins, but an instrumental hit out and goal assist for the State Ruckman, making all the difference there in the clearance.
He's a unit, isn't he? Have a look at him.
Brooksby wins on this occasion, but to no avail. Brendan Verrier running the wrong way. Luckily, Dent streaming from the half-back line. Makes it work. Kick is too high. Munkara, no chance. And Curnow with a relieving intercept mark. Lowers the eyes, finds O'Neill. Look at the youngster just take the game on through the corridor. Wants to send it towards centre-half forward. McInnes got about 3 draped all over him. Mascos is one of him, half his size, but still wins out. Off of Munkara's chest. Higgins, a chance to mop up. Kick to centre-half forward. Hayden feeds to Stewart. Fumbles it with absolutely no one around. West Coast can't hold up the ball carrier. Munkara kicks somehow. South Fremantle player dead on his own. Terrific spoil there from Nelson. Steve Verrier taken high. He did all the good work there. And in the end, the umpires paid advantage. Buick streams in for an easy goal.
Yep, and that comes again from just more numbers around the contest. Quick ball. It was there was about 3 or 4 fortuitous bounces off players, as we saw then, going back about 5-10 seconds before that contest at the half 4 when the free kick was given, and the ball just seemed to bounce South Fremantle's way. So, as unlucky as it is for West Coast, it's fortuitous to South Fremantle, and there are those back-to-back goals, which West Coast have been hoping to get, but that has stemmed the flow for South Fremantle. Back out to a handy buffer, 29 points.
A very skillful spoil there from Jackson Nelson, but unfortunately just undoing all of his good work with the high tackle there. And South Fremantle playing the advantage. Donaldson, in fact, Buick, an easy goal from inside the square.
Got to start here again for West Coast. Got to start winning these contests now. Get the ball going their way.
29-point margin, a couple on the board from South Fremantle. Ainsworth, the clearance at this point. Nick Reid playing in front. Good work there from the Eagles. They're able to bottle this one up.
Okay, so now they start again. 55 out, another stoppage, reset.
West Coast desperate to reply here. Bailey Williams can't win this one. Hamish Brayshaw tackled. In the end, South Fremantle pick it up. Here we go. Russell sends it forward into space. This is where they're dangerous inside forward 50, the Bulldogs. Harry Edwards needs to be clean. Fends off the tackle he is. Here's the voice of Fisher. Blind kick. Doesn't work too good. Brander makes the best of it. Deft tap to Matty Allen. Now to Ainsworth. Puts Hamish Brayshaw under a ton of pressure. Boundary line's the friend here of West Coast, and eventually they find it. South Fremantle's intent very clear from the get-going. They want to have amends for that first half ending, Tim.
Yeah, 2 goals, 1 in this quarter to West Coast. Haven't added to their score in 11 minutes. So Luke Webster wouldn't be happy. I think initially he was okay. There's a player on the bench. I think Curnow, our man Mitch Curnow's in the hands of the trainers as well, and he had the job on Munkara early.
O'Neill dispossessed. Flying in the Bulldogs. Dragovic collects. Wants to send it to dangerous areas for the Bulldogs. Mason Shaw flies from the back. Claim touch, but not to be. Fisher's disappointment says it all. And Mason Shaw lining up for his 4th goal of this contest. He's been a big difference maker.
Certainly has been, but so too Brock Higgins. Had 17 disposals, 8 kicks, 9 handballs, and there's a number of clearances in that, along with his 21 disposals. The big unit is making a big difference. The Eagles' big men have to start to stem his influence in this game. Otherwise, it's going to get away from him again.
That's a lot of bigs in the one sentence, Tim, but I like it. Quite apt. Mason Shaw, the former Port Adelaide product, makes no mistake. That's his 4th. South Fremantle skipping away here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval.
Yep, 4 goals in a game like this. That is purely the difference. So took a while then to break the deadlock here in this second half. We went at about 7 or 8 minutes without a goal, but in the last 4 minutes, South Fremantle have gone bang, bang, bang. So there's 3 bangs to go with lots of bigs. So 11-8 to 5-9. So again, the problem for West Coast is stoppages. They've got to stop this flow. Fraser McInnes has gone down there now. Higgins is dominating. He just controls everything. He just puts the ball where he needs to be. He's hard to move off the line. West Coast really have to start to either nullify his taps or nullify his possessions, because this game is starting to get away from him again.
35-point margin in favour of the home side. Going to be tough to claw back from here, but it starts 1 goal at a time.
Better.
Here we go, West Coast through Brander. Wants to move quickly. Doesn't quite know what his options are. O'Neill's going to fly, as too does Dent for the Bulldogs. Picked up from Nick Reid. Can he get his first? Sends it to the top of the goal square. Williams in front. Can't collect. Ball at ground level. Pearson paddles it to his vantage. Brendan Verrier shrugs the tackler to Dragovic. And South Fremantle clear. This pinpoint pass is somehow coming off the chest of the Bulldogs player. Rotham taking full advantage, sends it long, but Blaine Wilson there to collect. And again, South Fremantle mopping up with ease.
Yeah, he could have looked to his right. He had 2 or 3 options in the corridor, then did Rotham. He certainly had eyes only to get it long deep. But that just comes from pressure. That just comes from other pressure where South Fremantle have had the ball going their way. But he certainly needed to open up his vision and look to his right. They would have had been having a shot on goal.
South Fremantle a little careless with the footy there. Nick Reid taking full advantage. His kick to the pocket is a bit of a scrubber, and in the end, a free kick's been given away. It's going against Foley in favour of Dent, pushing the back, I believe.
Your man Nick Reid's had into double-figure disposals now, which is a good sign in his waffle debut from North Beach.
I'd like to see him use it a little better with that raking left foot pass as Dent just kicks as long as he can down the wing. Brock Higgins playing the role of rover, go figure. Soccer off the deck into the waiting arms of Fisher. Wants to go corridor, but has his doubts. Instead goes the safer route down the line. Not much tall timber in favour there. Archie's going to take the mark.
Did you say
out
route?
Back.
Did you say route?
Yeah. Problems?
Yeah, I'd say a route. R-O-U-T-E in Australia.
Jesus, didn't know I was getting a grammar lesson mid-commentary call, but here he is, Tim Gossage, to the top of the goal square. Umpire's blown the whistle. Could not tell you what it's for because it's the umpire in non-control of the play. Free kick against the Bulldogs. Funnily enough, he's made the decision from 50 metres out, this bloke.
Well, you can sometimes see from further away. That's why you're using binoculars. So let's have a look here. Williams is lining up for his second goal. We'll get a replay shortly, I'm sure. But fair to say, they need this one.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious. Bailey Williams to capitalise. We'll see it again shortly. But the big fella to waltz in for his second goal of the afternoon. Makes no mistake. West Coast trim the margin back to 29 points.
Just his 4th kick for the day, but he certainly had an imposition around the contest. Let's take a look, and that was, I reckon he's paid a push out, and judging by that, I reckon Williams has come from behind everyone else and just hasn't timed his run, and I reckon the umpire's been conned into that one.
Yeah,
that was
right.
a lucky one.
So you think he's timed his run so poorly he's been dropped and dragged and gone to the bench, has he?
He comes from behind the contest, he runs through.
That's one of the worst free kicks I've ever seen.
That was not a free kick. But anyway, we're not here to argue with it. The umpires have done a fairly good job.
No, I backed the decision, but it wasn't there. That's all good.
29 points the margin, 11-8 to 6-9. 74 plays 45. We're here thanks to Hungry Jacks. Hope you're enjoying the action, courtesy of the West Coast Eagle.
Let's hope West Coast can find another route towards goal here.
Mate, that'll be the last time you use it.
As McInnes and Higgins do battle. Florenka's going to get the clearing kick, though. Blind one inside forward. In fact, it's precise in the end. And the recipient, Steve Verrier, no one really on the mark, decides to play on. Strom at full forward. Oh, I thought he was going to drop an absolute soda. But in the end, just bobbles it to himself. And what would have to be a certain reply on the cards here for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, just too easy. Like, you work hard to get the goal, albeit a fortuitous free kick, but, you know, it just comes out too easy, and all of a sudden your momentum changes again. He can't miss this, surely.
Zach Strom lining up for his second of the afternoon. Goal umpire does little work, and the Bulldogs respond in timely fashion.
Yeah, they do, and they've seemed to have every answer so far in this game. That is their 12th goal in the game. And as I said, the momentum is certainly with West Coast. They kicked the last 5 scoring shots of the first half of that second quarter, but has now blown out to 35-point lead. The biggest lead in the game's been 36 points, so we've gone back to where we were at time on in that second quarter. So again, the message will be win these contests, don't allow easy ball. Higgins is off the ground, make them pay now. While Higgins is off, West Coast could certainly dominate in this area.
That clearing kick from South Fremantle landing straight in the arms of Steve Verrier. Tell me it was meant for him, I'll call you a liar. As Brooksby can't get to that bounce. As good as he is in the ruck, that's gone basically 20 metres to the left of screen, and the umpire will have another crack.
He'll throw it up.
Brooksby, no ruckman getting a hand on it this time. He waltzes back in. Schloeth provides the tackle. Not much he can't do, Hayden Schloeth. Umpire will restart things once again. We've played 18 minutes here in the third term. West Coast, again, need to start chipping away at this lead to give them any sort of a chance in the fourth quarter. Brooksby with the clearance. Hug, good at ground level, but he's dispossessed. Archie, handball forward, keeps it moving in the general direction of goal. Matty Allen doing his best at ground level. South Fremantle trying to work it close in tight, but it backfires. Ball in dispute still. 20 players in the nest here at this point. Umpire finally comes in and blows his whistle.
But that's good. I don't have any issues with that. No clear possession. West Coast in recent times have allowed South Fremantle to get away from that contest, so that's a win.
Fraser McInnes one out of the goal square if West Coast can get it to him. Not on this occasion. Another ball up outside 50.
I would like to see an Eagle hitting this contest at pace, running through this contest.
Where are they going to run? They got 30 blokes in front of them.
It's all a bit stationary for my liking.
Brooksby wins the hit out, but it went about a metre. Good
Like
pick up there from Donaldson. The Fremantle staff member almost threw up in my mouth.
Yeah, I know. What's going on?
Kick out ride to Fisher. He's dispossessed.
He's in
Good tackle
marketing,
there.
isn't he? I think he's in
who cares? We don't care what happens out there, Timbo. Jackson Nelson doing his best to fight through a South Fremantle tackle. In the end, West Coast done well to hold things up. I want to say community department.
I don't know.
I've lost interest already. Brooksby searching for a West Coast crummer, nothing doing there. South Fremantle giving them very little. Got to commend them on that effort. They are shutting them down around the contest at the moment, Tim, not giving them clean ball use inside the forward half. Archie flies high for a bit of a crumb there. In the end, the boundary line wins out. Throw some stats at me, mate. What's looking good down there?
Yeah, well, I'm actually trying to find... He's been pretty quiet today, but he's in the state squad for South Fremantle. Chad Pearson. He's had 13 disposals.
They've been clean off the back flank.
Yeah, he has been. He's been very handy.
Oh, here we go. Bloke running through the contest. Not wearing yellow and blue, though, unfortunately, Tim. West Coast
correct
are able to dispossess them. Zach Strom runs out of real estate. Ball over the line.
I wouldn't mind just someone in the blue and gold, the blue and yellow, to be running through that contest just to change it up a little bit. It's a bit predictable in these stoppages for mine.
Well, all South Fremantle need to do is just play this dirty game, lock it in for a while. They're succeeding at the moment. Florenka's taken by the big Mack truck in Matty Allen. And yet again, they're keeping the umpires busy. Another ball up on the far wing.
Interesting, West Coast lead the hit-out count, 32-27. Albeit Brock Higgins has certainly been the dominant big man on the ground at the moment.
Ball spills out in the hug direction. Providing good defensive pressure there. South Fremantle with the numbers. Tremendous tackle there from Rebillard. And we see another stoppage on the right forward flank.
Okay, I'm going to give you a stat right now.
I'm sitting down. I'm ready. Sit down.
Leads the inside 50 count, and how much do they lead it by?
Well, I'm thinking it's a trick question, but I'd be staggered if it was West Coast.
Well, it is. So sit down. 36-30.
I'm on the floor. You floored me with that stat. Hamish Brayshaw doing his best at ground level. As to is Jackson Nelson. Good strength in the contest there from the Victorian. Matty Allen just bangs it forward in hope. Fraser McInnes almost takes the miraculous. Nick Reid on his right side.
Your man.
Has he worked it? No. Jeez, if his first goal...
I tell you what, his first goal
was with a right foot. If his first goal was with a right foot, I would have got nude.
His first goal will be made up of 6 behinds, the way he's going at the moment.
South Fremantle bring it out with ease. Dragovic has the runner in Pearson, your man. Floats one almost to the middle of the ground. Fisher
good player.
Just needs to collect cleanly. He does. Brayshaw loose in the middle. Lowers the eyes. Terrific work. Nick Reid too far out to score, even of his brilliance. Lowers the eyes. Smith infringed in the contest. Tim Gossage has thrown his pen in disgust, as he should have. South Fremantle clears through Schloith.
Hit the target from 20 metres away,
Wants to play on. Has a clear option at centre half forward. It's Brendan Verrier. Look at the numbers stream past. Everyone wants to lick at the ice cream here. Russell lowers the eyes. Dylan Main against his old side. To extend the margin, he does. The skipper makes them pay. And this is the biggest margin of the game so far. 40 points to the home side.
And it comes from a turnover at the front half. Had a man missed the target, it just makes it hard to defend because all your players are going one way. You get punished. You just wouldn't want to be a defender in that situation. That really hurt.
I might have to get one of the medics up here for your pen because I reckon I've copped a bit of shrapnel from that throw.
I'd just like to clarify one thing. You did aim to throw a lolly out the window pre-game. Not only once, but you threw it twice thinking that there was the same window that you'd missed the target. But it's a enclosed booth. There is actually no open part to the window, which goes to show how clean it is. How concussed you are.
Thought we weren't going to bring that up on air, but no problem.
One of the funnier moments we've seen.
Carry on here for round 5 of the WAFL.
You've thrown a lolly at the window, and then you've thrown it a second time thinking that you didn't hit the target, and it bounced back a second time.
Thought I framed it first time up. Quite embarrassing. Brock Higgins doing his best at ground level. Schloith again with another clearance for the Bulldogs. Sends it to the pocket. Strom streaming out. Tremendous rove there from Russell. Feeds to Shaw. Can he line up for his 5th? He has. South Fremantle streaming away here against the Eagles.
Yep, 5 goals, and that is an outstanding achievement. And it's not purely the defence's fault at this stage, although they are starting to play them on a long band at the moment. So they are all over them in this quarter. South Fremantle, they've got themselves to 92. So 24 minutes, going to be a long quarter if South Fremantle keeps scoring like this. 14-8, 92 to 6-10, 46. So they've doubled West Coast's score. And at half-time, the margin was 16 points. And for the best part of 7 or 8 minutes in the opening part of this half, it was an arm wrestle. But the floodgates, common cliche in football, have opened. And it's almost starting from here. Archie back into the middle. They need more from him this quarter. He was outstanding in the second term.
How many goals they kicked this quarter, the Bulldogs, Tim?
They have kicked 6 goals in this quarter to West Coast 1.
There's your ball game. Keegan Brooksby still fighting hard. The clearing kick out to Reid. He's against Dent in the foot race. Nick Reid almost goes over the top rope, Undertaker style, but in the end, a bit of argy-bargy. Don't mind that. Let me just get the binoculars back up. Thought it was done and dusted, but wouldn't mind seeing a bit of fisticuffs to lighten the mood here in the afternoon. Nick Reid somehow got a free kick for throwing him. Back that. Wants to send it long. Bailey Williams flies, not to be. Blaine Wilson collects. Nice little spin. Steve Verrier just wants to have the relieving kick out of defensive 50. Harry Edwards overruns it. Mason Smith says thank you very much. Sends it forward with a bit of scrap kick. Rotham.
Who?
Timely fist. Riak runs onto it. Needs to be precise just over the head of Rebillard. He's given it up here for West Coast. South Fremantle heading towards goal again. Harry Edwards with a timely intercept mark in front of 2 Bulldogs players. He's often compared to Tom Barras and Jeremy McGovern with his intercepting skills, Tim, what the boys tell me when they do eventually talk to me around the water cooler at the club.
You do a lot of lurking in the corridors. I'm not surprised they try to get past you.
Correct. And the ball trickles out of bounds. We'll have to throw in. We've played 25 minutes here in the third quarter. 46-point margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Trickling into time on here.
Stay with us, Eagles fans. Follow your team in the WAFL competition. A lot of their big names are missing. A few players being tested at depth here. They've had to call on a number of amateur players, but they're doing a good job. But South Fremantle are going to be a force this year.
Archie, little squib kick's going to work for Josh Smith. Sends it long. Bailey Williams didn't know if it was his or someone else. In the end, it was for the behind sticks. As West Coast trim away at a massive margin, 1 point at a time. South Fremantle not slowing down with their movement of the football. This is Sue. I was getting there.
Sorry. Sorry.
Right back flank.
Sorry, mate.
Wants to kick for distance. Harry Edwards the target for West Coast perspective. Ball spills back. Rotham on the left. It's going to work. Foley by himself. Has one target inside forward 50. Yes! Bailey Williams with the one hand. Rebillard lurking. Here's a chance. The big fella back onto it. Matty Allen on the preferred left. Can it come back enough? It has. Good finish there for Matty Allen. He's put through his second.
Yeah, that's your second goal. Fair to say. It almost stuck for the big man. Big Bailey Williams. Better from West Coast. Need more of it. But yes, that's a very classy goal. Matty Allen kicking his second. He kicked the first goal for West Coast.
In the end, a bit of luck prevailed. I guess Josh Rotham's left foot kick could have gone to anyone on the ground, Tim, but into the waiting arms of Luke Foley at the left half forward flank. And I guess they'll take any goal that they can get at this juncture.
They will. Good word, juncture. How do you spell that?
R-O-U-T-E.
No, is it J-U-N...
Oh, mate, I failed that many English classes. You're asking the wrong commentator.
Get a job in TV.
Stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
Get a job in TV if you can't spell.
As the umpire's going to restart things in the CBD. West Coast, can they get on a little run here as they did before the halftime break? Ainsworth can't collect the footy. Florenka's handball is a little blind. Matty Allen tries to mop up. Oh, Jackson Nelson's just socked the ball directly into a South Fremantle player. If you're going to take him out, that's the legal way to do so. Ball trickles to Buick's hands. Will he have a shot on goal here? Terrific smother from young Daniel Akers. Can we have a look at that Falcon replay team? Here we go. Have a look at this. Have a whack. Have some of that. That's like Van Damme action stunt. He hit the ground like a sack of spuds.
Have some Burley with that footy.
Umpire throws it in, left forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Matty Allen raking left foot, clearing kick in the end. Fraser McInnes opts the one hand. Hug lurking at ground level. As to as Pearson, good handball. Subin sends it inside 50 for the Bulldogs, and Brodie Riak, beautiful intercept mark coming across the face of the pack.
He'll learn his lesson from the last time he turned it over. He kicked about a 10-metre kick straight to the south.
Yeah, he's got the earpiece in. Tim Gossage, direct line. Oh! What a mark from Brandon Archie! That has got to be one of your contenders for mark of the year, Tim Gossage.
That was superb. Absolutely superb. He's almost been the Eagles' best today. That is cherry on top of the cake stuff. He got right up there. Brilliant stuff. That's a highlight.
I'm sure we'll have a look at it in due course, but my goodness, that was reaching for the heavens, that one. He can leap, as you've all just seen from home. Back to play for the meantime. Jackson Nelson goes down the line. Bailey Williams can't collect. Ball at ground level. Subin's there. And the umpire circling. He's going to pay something. He's holding the ball against Matty Allen. He's pretty flat with the result. Arsu, the recipient. Handball to Wilson. He wants to move it quickly to the forward flank. Harry Edwards. That's the intercept prowess we were speaking of. Wants to move it quickly. Hug was probably the target, but Ainsworth said, I wouldn't mind another stat, as all wingers do. Josh Smith opts long down the line, and that siren here in what is a disappointing quarter for the West Coast Eagles. Let's have a look at this mark. As Archie goes up on two of them, you won't get better than that, my friend.
And
what a grab.
Didn't grass it at all, held it all the way to the deck. That is something. We'll take a break. It is South Fremantle by 39 points, 14-8-92 to West Coast 7-11-53. You're watching Waffle Action, courtesy of the West Coast Eagles and Hungry Jacks.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
Yeah, so we're at West Leederville Primary School today. Just come out with the kids, go through some handball, some kicking, just to have a bit of fun as well. So it's pretty much just about having a healthy lifestyle, showing a few games and just a few basic skills along the way.
Oh, I think it's great. You remember back to when you were a kid and I was a Melbourne supporter as a kid, and when a few of those boys came to my school as a young boy in Melbourne, it was great to see them, and you learn a couple of things: how to kick a footy, how to handball, how to take a mark. And it's something you really cherish and remember. I think it's great that we can help out kids where we can, and really good to see the smiles on the kids' faces today.
Has everyone played dodgeball before?
Yeah, well, it's really good. It's one of those things where you always want to try to give back to the community and the kids. They'll obviously enjoy their football, enjoy their sport, so to be able to come out and meet a few of the players is always pretty fun, and it's always good. They've got a few funny questions, and you can have a laugh with them.
Head, ball.
Yeah, it's great that BHP makes it possible for us to come out to the schools and support the kids and hopefully teach them a few things. So we really appreciate that, and we look forward to doing many more this year.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with Menulog.
Welcome back to Fremantle Community Bank Oval. You're watching the action courtesy of the West Coast Eagles and Hungry Jacks. And while that scoreboard doesn't read well, 39 points, the biggest lead in the game was a tick over 40. This was the highlight. Just 90 seconds from the end of the term. Brandon Archie, look at that. We've seen some great marks down this neck of the woods, down at Fremantle over the journey. But that was a highlight, and that will get a run around the country on all forms of footy shows, wherever you want to do. And that caps off a pretty good day, because I think he's been close to West Coast best today.
I think you're dead on there, and don't think that Fraser McInnes is one of the better leaders at your club. Happy to be the stepladder on that occasion. And Pearson didn't see a thing coming of that one either.
No, and Mason Shaw has kicked 5. That has been a big difference on the scorecard. 14-8 to 7-11. So in that quarter, South Fremantle added themselves 6 goals. What did they add here? 6 goals, 1, and West Coast, unfortunately, only added 2 goals, 2.
So, Tim, last quarter, you'd have to think, hey, this lead is insurmountable in West Coast's case. What do you think the message is going to be from Luke Webster to his troops at this quarter time, three-quarter time huddle?
I know again, I talk about footy cliches, but you want to win the quarter. So you want to win the quarter, you want to say to themselves, so all right, how do we get ourselves back in there? He'd be challenging individuals. He'd be challenging individuals who are on the cusp, saying, look, their opportunity's going to come in the top team eventually. If you're down and you've been beaten over the last 3 quarters, you need to deliver something here. He would be throwing individual challenges on individual players. He would also be trying to work out some form of stoppage structure and the like, which got him back in the game in that second quarter. In that last 10 minutes of the first half, that's where Luke Webster would want his team to get back to, somewhere in this last quarter.
When you're looking at the West Coast Eagles and their entire squad makeup, here are the names that are missing from the lineup. So you've got Vardy and Mutimer, who have been held over for tonight's game at Optus Stadium against the Gold Coast Suns. We've got Rioli, Natanui, Barris on the injured reserve. Then we're missing Cameron, Brady Gray, Francis Watson, Jakey Waterman, our leading goal kicker for the year, equal leading goal kicker in the competition, mind you.
Correct.
Patrick Bynes, another Category B rookie who recently had hernia surgery, listening from his hospital bed. G'day, big Paddy Binosaur Bynes from where you are watching and listening. So that's obviously going to have a trickle-down effect. And what I'd like to see from this quarter, Tim, I want to see a bit of cohesion and see some of these fringe blokes put their hand up to say, I want a game next week when some of these players continue to trickle back. So your Daniel Akers, Kieran Hugg, Joel Ashman, Liam Rebillard, my man Nick Reed. I want to see them put their hands up this quarter and have a fair dinkum crack.
Yeah, 100%. Alrighty, let's take a look, of course. So if you can pre-order your Indigenous jersey. Fantastic. I saw this a couple of weeks ago pop up, and you can order it through the West Coast Eagles team store. You can go online, get into the store. You can pre-order yours now, and I reckon they're going to go out the door at a rapid rate. I love the look of that jumper.
It was fantastic to be within the inside walls of the Indigenous committee, the RAP committee that was involved in designing this Guernsey. It was a meeting amongst some of the senior Indigenous and younger Indigenous players with the entire RAP committee, Liam Duggan, Jackson Nelson, able to pitch in, go to the senior leaders of the club with a few different designs, and they've all collaborated together to produce this magnificent design. I back it 100%.
Yep, think it's just an absolute ripper, and we love the Indigenous jumpers right through the AFL competition, and I think that West Coast Eagles one is top shelf. Todd Curley taking a long time to break up his South Fremantle group. He'd be very happy with what they've dished up, of course. And as I mentioned, they have been at this venue for a month. No excuses today. The surface has been fantastic. Hasn't been a huge breeze. There's been no wet weather. It has been a dry day football quality-wise and also in conditions. So they've got a lot of work to do. 39 points. They trailed by 36 in the second quarter. Got it down to 16 at the long break. But you would be a matter of the margin here. But as I mentioned, I think West Coast and Luke Webster will be imploring on his players, let's just stay in the game. He doesn't want to see a blowout. Yet I think Todd Curley, on the flip side, will be saying we want to extend this lead. Percentage can be important come later in the season.
Inside the CBD, starting this last term, Braden Ainsworth, Keegan Brooksby, Brendan Jezelenko Archie, and the truck, Matty Allen, to kick things off in the fourth quarter. South Fremantle free West Coast, 39-point margin in favour of the home side. As the umpire smacks it down to start things, umpire is well off on the bounce.
Yep.
And although both ruckmen got to it, he thinks he can do a little better on the throw-up.
If he can't, he shouldn't be umpiring.
Well
if he can't throw it up straight, you are going bad.
Well said. Matty Allen looks to make an impact. Two Bulldogs collide. In fact, we've seen a high decision. Wouldn't mind seeing it on replay, but Matty Allen, he's had a few against him today. And he's remonstrated with the majority of them. Sloyth is going to be the recipient.
I'll try and check the stats of free kicks against. Well, that's right, we don't have that one.
Oh, let that play on, sir. Goes to full forward. And it's Strom leading out, taking almost an uncontested mark to begin proceedings here in the fourth quarter. West Coast caught napping a little bit there, Tim.
Archie, 22 disposals. Brayshaw, 16. Nelson, 16. Ainsworth, 15. Your man, Nick Reed, 14. 3 behinds and 3 out of them on the full. Joth Rotham, 14. And the Trucks had 12.
Strom waltzes in. He's hooked it a little bit. Too much, in fact.
Dragovic, 24. Florenka, 21. Subin, 21. Veria, Brendan, 21. Big Brock Higgins, 23 hit-outs, 10 handballs, 19 disposals. And Hayden Sloyth been fairly quiet today, 19 disposals. And Chad Pearson off halfback, 16.
Rotham, the long ball, finds the skipper. Good juggling mark from McInnes. Hasn't stopped trying all day. He'll lead from the front no matter what the scoreboard tells you. Umpire says play on. Little dab kick inside. Nelson plays on himself. Didn't really know what was in front of him. It's going to work, however. Nelson receives it back from McInnes.
Good.
Wants to go right across the face. Will it sit for Fisher? Eventually it does. Not too many options. Has to split the gap between two Bulldogs. He does. Finds O'Neill. Has been serviceable today. Playing off a wing to start proceedings in the fourth quarter. Great kicking board. Pulls the trigger. Finds Ainsworth. Lowers the eyes. Archie can raffle it with Rotham. They share and wax in the end. Archie goes back inside on Florenka. Rotham needs to be precise if he wants to find the target. South Freo with the numbers. Look at him drop back. And Nick Subin, or Blaine Wilson, in fact, with an easy intercept mark.
Did all the hard work. They just had South Fremantle at 6s and 7s, and they've forced a wide ball here, but they're going to get away with it through Dylan Main. They had them as 6s and 7s, and just one bad kick, and guess where the ball comes? Straight back.
Dragovic has it. Finds Sloyth. No one in the vicinity. Must have a bit of a BO problem at the moment, Sloyth. Struggling to find an opponent. Sends it long. Can't let it go out the back here, West Coast. Josh Rotham spoiled. Needs to find the line. Buick's lurking. Handball inside. Donaldson squares things up. Leading in the race. West Coast Eagles are there. In fact, it's going to be a free kick.
Yep.
Oh, no. Has it gone the other way? The umpire's pointing the other way.
He's paid a throw, has he?
So it's going to go to Buick. It's going to be an easy shot on goal from about 25 metres out. Oh. What will the replay tell us here?
I thought it was a push in the back.
He must have paid the throw. So good defensive work from Buick, forcing the error.
What came first, the push in the back or the throw?
Chicken or the egg scenario. I think it's going against Ashman. Bit stiff there, but the umpire's not going to reverse it now.
He wouldn't have learned that at Subi.
Buick, a chance to put through his second goal of the afternoon. Makes no mistake. And South Fremantle skip further ahead here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval.
Yep, and that's not what West Coast needed, so that's a very handy goal to South Fremantle. The replay probably not decisive for what we were viewing, but anyway, at the same time, that's a heartbreaker for West Coast, and South Fremantle is certainly going to go above the century mark here. So if you just tuned in, you might want to watch the television newses tonight, or get onto our Facebook, West Coast Eagles, or YouTube, or whatever other form of social media that you watch the West Coast Eagles, because Brandon Archie has taken one of the best marks you'll see, and you'll see it around the country on most football shows. And if you don't see it on a decent footy show, then it's not a decent footy show.
Around the country, Tim, I'm BVRing Sports Centre. If it's not on there, I'll eat me hat. Dragovic working
and you are
up.
wearing a hat, and we're inside. Who are you?
It doesn't taste very good either. Been wearing it a while. Kate Stewart, uncontested mark. South Fremantle piling on a bit of pain here in the fourth quarter. And the former Hawthorn product, a chance to put through his first of the afternoon.
Yeah, had to get dragged back to the footy club. Probably not. He probably felt that he was needed a break from the footy and went back to Katanning, and of course, and he's good mates with Hayden Sloyth. And they are in cahoots here, and he's a very handy pickup for South Fremantle to have him back at the club, and they're reaping the benefits.
He's going to line up from the paint of the 50. Wheels on the left. Has it got the distance? It's offline, however. Just the behind for young Buick.
5 goals to
Stewart, rather.
5 goals to Shaw, 2 to Donaldson, and Zach Strom, singles to Buick, Florenca, Main, Mankara, which was a beauty, and Schloith. 2 goals to the truck, Allen, McInnes and Williams, and 1 to Joel Smith Josh Smith, should I say, for West Coast. So 7 goals to 14 in favour of South Fremantle.
Nelson with nothing to lose. West Coast streaming through the middle here. A chance on goal, but the kick is well off target there from young Joel Ashman. And everything working well for them there in the guts. They were waxing very nicely, but the finish, the polish, was lacking on that occasion.
Sorry, mate, I should have let you take over that bit, but I was too busy looking at the stats.
Curnow, good relieving defensive fist there. Going to set up another stoppage in West Coast forward half. Would love to see them get a bit of a run on here, bit of confidence. Put through a bit of a fourth quarter they'll be proud of, Tim.
Absolutely. That's what the aim would be. They're down by 46 points.
I'm going to get you to think up a bit of a 3-2-1 from West Coast point of view. Question without notice. I'm sure you can do it. As Hug flies, can't bring it in.
Do I have to do my votes like they do for the Glendinning Allen medal at the 20-minute mark of the last quarter? Or can I do it at any time? When do you want an answer?
When South Fremantle bang through another one and we got nothing positive to talk about. How about that?
Consider it done.
Sweet. As we see another stoppage in West Coast forward 50. South Fremantle's clearance has been quite tidy to watch this afternoon. They should be one of the favourites to take out the competition in 2019, falling short in their preliminary final in 2018, Tim, to the Falcons.
No, I'm concentrating on my votes, mate.
Yeah, no, priorities, well done. No, I'll take the game then, mate. Umpire circling, nothing doing.
And I'm not a stats watcher either. I don't believe stats are a true indication.
Well, then why are you looking at your stats to make your votes? Get off your phone. Don't be bragging about your bloody...
Horsham, it was. Horsham race 5.
Give me a tip while you're at it.
Yeah.
Ashman, burrowing in. Ainsworth, good defensive pressure. A chance for Hug, handball over the top. This is Foley, finds Williams, going to do well, the big fella. Back feed to Ainsworth. From the impossible angle, Ainsworth misses. West Coast can't find the middle here in the fourth quarter. 46-point margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Blaine Wilson will take the kick out. 149 games in the waffle competition. Bit of a stalwart across 3 clubs. His kick down the middle. Going to be a turnover. Ashman finds Rebillard. Great smother there from the Bulldogs in Buick. Still fighting hard, the Bulldogs, despite this sizable lead that they do have. They're going to work it forward. Don't know how Buick smothered it before because he's got the ball here. The flash. Players held up. West Coast streaming back with numbers. In the end, Buick just has to kick long. Archie stands underneath it. Can't take it off his chest. Good handball from Hayden. Brendan Verrier for an impossible shot on goal. He's kicked an absolute ripper. Brendan Verrier paying long odds from the boundary, makes no mistake. And South Fremantle put through yet another goal here in the fourth term.
Yeah, have a couple of good highlights on that far side of the ground. We've seen the mark from Archie and now the Verrier goal. Look at that. He's against the boundary line, throws it on the boot. Not a lot of science involved, but that is a fantastic major. That's the best goal of the day, along with Mankara's in the second quarter. 106-51, still plenty of time for South Fremantle to extend this margin, and that's where Luke Webster will be asking on his players to show a bit of pride here, just to try and arm wrestle their way, not to allow this result to blow out any more than it has, because it's certainly looking ugly on the scoreboard.
Yeah, 51 points. Is that 3 goals to Donuts here in the fourth quarter, Tim?
That's exactly what it is at 2 goals, sorry. It was 14-8, so it's 2 goals, 2 in this quarter.
Well, let's hope I'm not looking at my crystal ball then. As the umpire restarts play, Brock Higgins with his dodgy ankle apparently, still fighting it out despite the margin. Give it a spell. Brooksby, scrubber kick forward. All players overrun it. Russell picks it up. Good handball to Main. Snaps it long. Archie back with the flight. Didn't know what was coming. Gutsy stuff. He lowers the eyes. Dart pass to Brooksby. Back feed to Nelson. Precise. Finds Reed. The runner in Fisher on the outside. Moves it forward. Main back with the flight. Also with courage. Higgins tapped to space. Dent overruns it. Bailey Williams can't bend down to pick it up, the big fella, and a good mark from Florenca. The blind kick out of defence works for the Bulldogs. And Florenka goes down the line. Good sport from Rotham on Schloith. Somehow Schloith clapping Rotham. That's good sportsmanship. And another throw in, Tim. How are those votes going, big fella?
Well, I reckon I've got 2 players who I could easily put in my top 3.
Oh, I didn't know Brownlow voting was top 2 players. They changed it mid-year, did they?
I'm trying to find a third without embarrassing myself.
Higgins, all class there.
West Coast players only, right?
I would think so. On a South Fremantle broadcast as Kerno takes a good relieving mark. He opts to come to the broadcast side for a change. Good to have the ball here.
Yeah,
Put the
would be
binoculars
nice.
down for a moment. Brander can't collect.
Glad we don't have to come here again.
Ball's up for grabs.
Nah.
Umpire's called a free kick. Didn't see what it was for.
Pushing the back he's paid.
Well, Hayden will take every bit of it. This will test him from outside 50. Players lurking for a bit of cheapie. Bit of lick of the ice cream. Not on this occasion. Hayden opts for the short pass. Not to be. West Coast a chance to clear. Nelson wants to go long. Arsu standing underneath it, as to is Wilson. Oh! Fraser McInnes says, have some of that, ex-teammate Blaine Wilson.
Big phrase. Hit the pack. Should be more of it without sort of taking blokes out like that. But tell you what.
Now, these two were quite close to the club, so don't mind some of that.
There was, I think there was a bit of a chatter there with big phrase over the top of Blaine. I'm thinking half apologised.
Wilson sends it to the dangerous area. West Coast with numbers. Trying to prevail. Fisher, good turn. Archie, quick hands. Finds O'Neill. He links up, misses the target, in fact, with Allen. Hug there to mop things up. Archie trying to spin out of 4 tackles. Can't do so. Lucky not to be pinged. Ball up for grabs. O'Neill still fighting hard at the bottom. Archie appealing. Not to be. Ball up inside the centre square. Geez, you know what I'd love to do is stop calling and look through my phone for a third person in the top 3 votes. That'd be pretty handy. Higgins wins the hit out.
I can't do everything.
Buick going to send it to the pocket.
I am peddling.
Rotham in front. Bounce didn't do him wonders. React, mopping up, goes across the goal face, and that is a precise kick. Brander with skill takes it with the flight. How's the snap pass? It's just out of the outstretched reach of his teammate.
Whoops.
Bailey Williams, he won't want to see that again on replay. Nick Subin to mop up. Precise kick to centre half forward. Buick has the runner. This is Hayden. A chance to put it through. Moncara with the shepherd legally, but the ball with the Shane Warne leg spin goes to the opposite side of the goal face.
Yeah, just took his eye off. Yeah, I know, took his eye off the ball. But you know what? I'll tell you something. If Brock Higgins was closing down on me, I'd get out the way too.
Yeah, I'll be running
He's a big, big boy.
What a Bailey Williams isn't.
Yeah, but mate, man's body against a boy's body.
Good smother there from Akers to no avail. Schloith, how many tackles will he break? Just the one on this occasion. Pumps it to the square. It's a foot race. Fisher's first to it. Verrier bearing down and cleverly just disguises out of bounds. Brendan Verrier appeals. Mate, you're up by, what are you, 51 points. Have a spell.
Do you want those votes?
Yeah. Can't wait to hear him, Tim. If they're not award-winning with how much time you spent on it, I don't know what will be. O'Neill, give to Fisher, but it's
the longer I sit here, the stats will certainly come into play.
React just wants to get it out of there. Williams the target at centre half, back for West Coast. South Fremantle somehow with a truck of numbers. Good smother there from Foley, still fighting hard. South Fremantle a chance now. This is Donaldson, and he's made no mistake. South Fremantle with the run of things here in the 4th quarter. Pile on yet another goal. That's his 3rd from number 16. And a 4th quarter that West Coast couldn't be too particularly proud of, Tim.
No, well, they wouldn't be. And look, there's not excuses. Let's weigh these things up a little bit. South Fremantle are good. They are very good. They're big. They're strong. They've got big anchors at both ends, the strong boys. They've got a big man in the middle. They've got good users of the footy, headed up by Hayden Schloith. There's a lot to like about South Fremantle. They're going to be a genuine contender if they can keep their best part of 22 to 25 players. West Coast somewhat decimated. A couple of players held out. It hasn't helped, of course, and a number of injuries with the league squad.
Look, I agree with you. Do you think they're Subi's best, most dangerous opposition at this point in time?
100%. Absolutely 100%. I think South Fremantle are the main challenger to Subiaco.
Umpire to restart play. The big workhorse in the ruck against Higgins.
Do you want those votes, yeah?
Yeah. On the edge of my seat, mate. Dylan Main, solid tackle there. Umpire says high. Ainsworth says, oh, take it, boys. Pays the advantage. Sends it to the pocket. Williams flies. Can't bring it in. At ground level, Rebillard working hard. Can't take it. Dent trying to mop up. Ball goes out of play. Throw in left forward pocket for West Coast Eagles. Give me those votes, Tim. Well said, mate.
I'm just trying to come up with one vote. I've got the 2 and the 3 sorted. It's the 1, which I just don't want to throw one vote out just to say I've done the job.
I know. Bit of care, don't mind that. Mascos, grub a kick. Geez, it works beautifully. Main feeds Donaldson. His kick is a little high for Brendan Verrier, but he mops up. Sets Subin a task. Rebillard.
He's good.
Mops up nicely. Sends it to the full forward. And Keegan Brooksby takes a clever chest mark, and the big fella should line up for West Coast's first goal of the fourth quarter.
And this might actually get him a vote, albeit I think Higgins was significant early, but I think when you're looking at best players for West Coast on a rugged old day on the scoreboard, if he can kick this, he will tick the box of a vote. I think it just caps off a workman-like day for Big Keegan. He's had 30-odd ruck knocks.
Oh, haven't you just put 20 times Moz on the big fella?
All right, we'll just put a line through that. We'll give him half a vote for hitting the post halfway up. All righty. No, I'll give him a 1. I'll give 1 to Brooksby. I'll give 2 to Ainsworth. And I think Archie has been the standout player today. Not just because of that great mark, but I think he was the player that brought them back into the game in the second quarter.
South Fremantle pressing here.
Yeah, okay,
Curnow overruns it. Harry Edwards mops up. Here's the voice inside. It's your man, Archie. Ashman overruns it. Taken off the ball. Umpire says nothing wrong with that. Riak has his ball intercepted. Munkara has a loose man. Schloith, nothing between him and the goal face. Handball over the top, as easy as you like. And Kate Stewart will run in for his first of the afternoon.
Yeah, he's just slammed it through the goals, and the boys from Katanning have combined to kick the easiest of goals. Almost somewhat arrogant there from Hayden Schloith. He could have run in and kicked the goal himself. But this is really starting to look ugly now for West Coast. So again, this will be good tape for the players to watch back. Luke Webster, the coach, and the coaching staff to look back at and say, all right, the game was gone, but who actually wanted to actually show a bit of fight and fly the flag? Going back into the middle now, I think Ashman's in there. I think Archie is in there as well for West Coast. Brock Higgins is there. Also Florenka.
I think you're right. The scoreboard doesn't really tell the tale. I think the Bulldogs would have thought they had a dead set fight on their hands at half-time, the way West Coast finished
100%. 100%. I mean, if you were to take anything out of this game, and I think Luke Webster will, he'll say, okay, what got us back into the game at the 20-minute mark of that second quarter?
Puts his head down, tries to burst through the pack. Ball comes unstuck. Ashman finds Smith. Time to gather, little fist out. Here's the voice of O'Neill, swings back inside. McInnes feeds Archie. Few options inside forward 50. Bailey Williams, the primary option. The big fella leaves, can't take the mark. Brander a chance. Little feed. Joshy Smith for his second of the afternoon. And that's the first for West Coast in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it certainly is. A long time coming. So that's some good news. I'm loving the attack on the footy at the moment of Bailey Williams. He probably wouldn't want to look back. Here's the replay. Tell you what, he's got some hops, hasn't he? He got up from nowhere. It wasn't a run and carry, and poor old, I think his Mascos has had a tough old day underneath the pack a couple of times now. But that was a great fly from Bailey Williams. Like that, like his attack on the ball, every time he does it, he's just going to get more confidence, timing of it. So that's the second goal to Smith, much needed for West Coast.
When you're 170 centimetres, Tim, as Mascos is, you normally get the poor end of marks on top of your head in the back 50. That was no exception. Good spoil there from Strom. I thought we were going to have 2 back-to-back mark of the Millenniums there from West Coast. Not to be. But you're right. Good to see some hops from Bailey Williams. Plenty of upside there from the big fella taken in the 2018 draft.
Oh, dear.
Bit of a basketballing background. So we've got a few basketballers around the club at the moment. Fraser McInnes fancies himself, but 2 Category B rookies.
We're just watching down at ground level. Jared Cameron, who was a late withdrawal from this team, walking along.
Not giving him a vote by any chance, are you? Precise kick. Hayden on the end of it. Wants to move it quickly. Sees an option he likes at Schloith. Tremendous spoil there, Harry Edwards. Ball sits up for Nelson on the left. Precise ball. Foley leading out. Takes it cleanly. Needs to wait for some cavalry to work their way forward.
Good luck.
Williams 2v1. Needs to make a contest. Does. Ball at ground level. Ashman there provides pressure. Just needs to lock it up, and they do so.
Big game tonight for the boys against the Gold Coast Suns.
Do you give the Suns any chance tonight,
No,
Timothy?
None at all.
So you'd put your house on West Coast, you reckon?
Yeah, well, it's not worth much, but yeah, I would. 29 Archie, 22 Nelson, 20 Ainsworth, 19 to Rotham. Brayshaw's been stuck on 16 for some time. Your mate Nick Reid, 15 on Deboo. Good effort, kicked 3 points and 2 out of bounds on the full.
Whew, yeah, it's a bit unsettling in the forward half. Normally a dynamic goal scorer down at the mighty Beach.
Yeah, but mate, he's playing against a very good team. He should be very proud of his
Mate,
effort.
Scarborough have essentially got a bloody waffle team in their league right now. I don't know what the league's doing.
Is there a
Looking at
salary
that one.
cap? Is there a salary cap in the
Oh,
Yellows?
mate, don't get me started. As West Coast, bit of a fumble there from my man Nick Reid.
Bit rich coming from North Beach.
I didn't get paid too much. I was instrumental back in the day.
$1 more than enough.
Didn't mind me snake after the game, that's for sure. Harry Edwards.
Better than this party mix that you brought today.
Is going to take the ball.
Are they 3 for 1 at the local petrol station?
He's going to send it long. Can West Coast snag another one here late? Brooksby flies in front to no avail. South Fremantle with numbers. Dragovic leads the chase. Reid provides pressure. Archie looming. Nelson, good tackle. Dragovic again, trying to feed it out. Russell goes bang. No one between the ball and South Fremantle's goal. Foot races on. Here we go. Dylan Main, is it? Ball doesn't sit for him, 3v1. Luckily for West Coast, the numbers win out. Josh Rotham.
He needed to hack it forward, I think, and get it well inside 50 and then keep running at it, Dylan Main. He tried to get the pickup.
Showed a bit of toe, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he was good. He's not old.
Brander, ball inboards, no good. South Fremantle a chance on the counter. Schloith. Back feed. Hayden.
Munkara.
To Munkara. Uncontested. Too far out to score. It's 1v1. Shaw, if it goes out the back, he's home. Too easy for the Bulldogs. As Mason Shaw is going to line up for number 6, Tim.
Yeah, and he was on for about 90 seconds. He was living inside that 50. It was only a matter of getting a clean possession. Good vision from Munkara. He's got good vision. He could be. He could actually be selfish at times. He's almost too much of a team player. But every time he's done it today, it's paid off.
Mason Shaw to cap off an outstanding afternoon for the Bulldogs. Main forward makes no mistake. That's number 6. And you've got a feel for this Eagles defence, Tim. I mean, your most experienced key defender with Barras out of the side with a stress fracture in his foot.
So you're talking about players out of the side at the other level, which puts pressure on this level.
That is correct. Okay. So, I mean, when Josh Rotham's your most experienced defender down back and you're taking on the likes of Mason Shaw and a Strom, it's a tall order, and they've handled themselves well, but when the supply is limitless, the damn wall breaks eventually.
Yeah, very much so. The inside 50s have certainly gone South Fremantle's way since half-time. And all of a sudden, this leads out to 63 points.
And as if this game wasn't getting any worse, you've polished all the bloody party mix off too.
Hang on, mate.
You're
good. 2.
Yeah, 2 dozen. Umpire restarts play.
Don't bring them if you don't want me to eat them.
Brooksby, well, look at the handle there from Ainsworth. Scrubber kick forward, but love the handles.
2 votes Ainsworth.
What a fluctuating list that is. Dan Wilson, blind kick. Brander, look at the shimmy sidestep. Can offload from outside 50, but the breeze takes it. Just the behind. How many behinds West Coast kick this quarter?
Good question.
Well, you spend another 5 minutes on that while I keep calling, all
right? 1 goal, 5,
There you go. There you go.
Against 5 goals, 3.
Pearson looks like he's wearing the old Doc Martens in black boots out there. Oh, Archie flies, nothing doing.
The guy's doing a good job on the scoreboard, but if he stands in front of the score, it makes it hard.
Well said.
1 goal, 4, actually, in this quarter, and South Fremantle have kicked 5 goals, 3.
Another chance here for South Fremantle, streaming forward. Pretty open, forward 50.
Any other questions before I go?
It's Stewart leading the race. Corralled by Akers. Look at the options in board. Oh, he's missed all of them. But Hayden Schloith wasn't even meant for him. Handball over the top. Munkara, goal.
Hayden Schloith could have 4 goals on his own here. He's ever the team player.
Hayden Schloith is in that good a form, he doesn't need a lead for it, and the ball's ended up in his hands.
Yeah, exactly right. He's just a smart man.
Look at this. You tell me this ball's meant for Hayden Schloith. No chance.
No.
Give me a spell.
I know. Well, that's what happens. Good players are in the right spots when they're even in the wrong spots.
Munkara just hanging out there in the full forward region. And we say goodbye to Tim Gossage, heading off for what will be the game of the century, Gold Coast v West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. Got commitments, but bit to work on for West Coast this week. Luke Webster and the Waffle Boys will certainly be trying to dissect what went wrong here. And again, they'll take 10 minutes out of the game, and that 10 minutes out of the game will be what they want to achieve week in and week out. But they've been undermanned today, and South Fremantle, very good.
Apologies to the viewers and listeners for solo bandy, but you're stuck with me. No options there for those who have decided to hang around.
Give us a break.
As Matty Allen sees Brander on the outside, has Subin to beat. Bursts through the option, the size of Jared Brander prevailing. Oh, Bailey Williams drops a soda. Would have capped off an outstanding play from Jared Brander. Ball at ground level, not done with yet, West Coast. Hug, working hard, Foley. He's wrapped up. South Fremantle streaming back in numbers, and we'll have a ball up inside Eagles forward 50. For those looking for stats, can't help you. That was Goss's job. We'll see how we go. Pearson just hops it straight in the air. Brander, prominent in this fourth quarter, refusing to go down without a fight as he finds Jackson Nelson 40 metres out from West Coast goal. A 69-point margin here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval for what is round 5 of the WAFL competition. 26 minutes ticking over in the final term, and we'll go for a little bit. South Fremantle have piled on a few. Jackson Nelson kicks very few goals. Wouldn't mind seeing the Victorian get amongst it here. Starts it well, makes no mistake. Well done, Jackson Nelson. West Coast second for the fourth quarter. Bit of a blind kick there from Pearson. I like the look of this kid, Jared Brander. Very stiff to be 0-3 from the current West Coast Eagles side. I don't think he's played at a home game, which is certainly going to make things tough in the win-loss categories. But no doubt going to be playing a ton of football for the senior side in many years to come. Not long to go here in the fourth term. Eagles have pegged it back to a 63-point margin. Dragovic the first to this one. Florenka, in fact. Archie, brilliant sweeping left handball to Matty Allen. Takes Blaine Wilson on, does so with ease. Couple of bounces from the outside against the breeze. Can Matty Allen kick one of the goals of the day? Touched on the line. Good work there from Strom. Bit of a party pooper, they'd say. 62 points in favour of the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs opting to go long down the outer side through the hands of Brock Higgins. Out of play. As we run through some of the statistics from a West Coast Eagles perspective, I found them. Can you believe it? Leading disposal getter, Brendan Archie with 30, taking one of the marks of the millennium. If we've got that on replay, might as well play that rather than what I'm seeing currently. A bit of a cue to the EVS replay team. Subtle as it like. Ball at ground level. Nelson shrugs tackle, gets dacked. Terrific duo. Scrubber kick forward, asking a bit of McInnes. Pearson just has to paddle this one out of bounds. He does so successfully. The scoreboard might not suggest it, but they battled hard today, West Coast, against this formidable Bulldogs outfit. Although 61 points doesn't really tell the tale. 17 points it was at three-quarter time. Failure to capitalise on such opportunities as the ball trickles out yet again for a throw-in. As we see Archie, 30 disposals. 22 to Ainsworth, 20 to Rotham, 23 to Nelson. A couple of prolific on-ballers there from West Coast. Allen, good roving there. Little right foot kick, it's going to work. Nick Reid steams out for his first game in the WAFL competition senior side. So we have a quick look at the replay. Brooksby, fantastic ruck work. Matty Allen, not normally renowned for his right foot inside 50 efficiency, but it'll work on this occasion. Nick Reid, belonging to the mighty A-grade North Beach outfit. who I'm sure would miss him sadly today. He's hooked that ball. What a shame for the North Beach man with his third behind of the day, maybe even fourth. Geez, I miss Goss and his stats. Pearson opts to play on, going down the outer side. No one getting a hand on that. Rotham collects, wants to bang it in quickly. Bit of a chaos ball. Smith can't get a hold of it. Ball trickles out of play. As we see solo commentator, budget cuts here for the Waffle stream. I'm sure things will pick up shortly, gang. Although a team would be preferable for myself and I'm sure everyone watching. Thrown inside forward 50. Stewart grabs it, but he's immediately taken. As we see some of the prolific ball winners for the Bulldogs, there are a few of them. Schloeth 26, Dragovic 28, Florenka 27, Subin 24. There's certainly some prolific names. Archie bangs this one out of the stoppage. Is it on target? It is not. Inaccurate kicking from West Coast. And this fourth quarter showcasing that in spades. 59-point margin in favour of the home side. In the dying minutes here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval in what is round 5 of the WAFL season. Love to go around the grounds. Couldn't tell you what's happening around the other grounds. Assume Subi are winning. Mason Shaw, certainly the difference on the day with 6 majors for the Bulldogs. As we hear final siren here. A day that belongs to South Fremantle. West Coast toiling hard all day, but in the end outmatched by a superior side. 59 points the final margin. As we wrap up our very first ever live stream of the WAFL competition, as we'll take a quick look at the Hungry Jacks highlights. And West Coast really on the back foot early, but we're able to really stick in this contest. Mason Shaw showcasing supreme skill, whether it be on the run, in the air. Really the difference maker today, the former Port Adelaide product. West Coast, Bailey Williams thought he tried hard today, provided quite a focal point in the aid of no Jake Waterman. Matty Allen, one of his 2 goals for the afternoon, both snaps with inside forward 50. Beautiful stuff there from the truck. Brendan Archie with one of the marks of the year. That's a dead set belter. Renowned for taking him. I thought this was going to be right up there for the big fella, but Noah Strom ruining every bit of the party there. In the end, Josh Smith capitalised on that effort, so Bailey Williams' effort didn't go unrewarded on that occasion. And the final goal from West Coast perspective, landing the arms of Jackson Nelson. Just the 1 goal for the senior West Coast Eagles side, and look at that little smile there. Yes, I'm happy, but can't celebrate too hard, because in the end, that is a 59-point victory, in case you've just joined us, in favour of the West Coast Eagles here. As we're wrapping up, thank you for joining us on this live stream. Don't forget the next game, Thursday, May 16, West Coast Eagles against the Royals at 7 p.m. Bit of a grudge match, some are calling it. Can't wait to see some of that. Thank you for joining us here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Today it's goodbye and thanks for watching.